Come on in. Come on in now. So, Auntie Leah can do a thing. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Salute, salute, salute. Welcome to Kicking It with Auntie Leah in the Truth Gang. Thank you so much for coming back tonight so we can continue to talk about Nolan Wells. Can I get everybody to please like the live? Salute, Tasha, and share the live. Right now, we're just going to wait on some more of the Truth Gang to come in. Listen to the words of the song while we're waiting. Just give me 2 minutes.
Cry when the sirens came. Another young soul gone.
Welcome everybody in the back who's never been here before.
We march for the truth, but the pain remains. Different faces, same story, just a different name. We grew up here and freedom reigned, but freedom feels different when you're fighting for everything. Working 2 jobs, still can't pay the bills. While the wealthy get richer from the top of the hill.
Drop justice for Nolan Wells as you come in.
Turn on the news and what do we see? More division, more hatred, less unity. They tell us be patient, wait our turn. But how many generations gotta live and learn?
You might want to come on over to YouTube. That's where the party be.
Pushed aside, told to be silent when our people cry.
Just give us a couple more minutes
that they can't control.
so people can come in.
Very deep within our soul. My people, hold your head up high. Don't let this world convince you not to try. Struggle through the pain.
Salute to everybody in the back. Please get to the like, the live, and share the live. 1 more minute, we just
but they can't stop what we're fighting for.
Because I'm mad.
We are the voice, we are the light.
And I'm going to explain to you why I'm mad.
Together we'll
Just
keep
for
up
Nolan
this
Wells.
fight.
Hey.
Children growing up without a chance, caught in a system that won't advance. Schools
waiting
underfunded,
on some
dreams
more
put on
people to
hold.
get in.
While promises fade and stories grow old. Mothers praying every night that the babies
love
make
to
it home
suppress our
alright.
lives.
Fathers working till their hands are worn, trying to
gonna
get
make
their
it do
families
what
a
it
better
do.
morn. Still we rise when they expect us to fall. Still we answer when our people call.
It's the countdown. 1 more minute. Salute
When they give us
Salute.
aid. Still we believe it's not too late. They tell us history's in the past, but the scars of yesterday still last. Red lines drawn through neighborhoods, broken promises dressed up as good. We watch dreams get pushed aside, watch too many mothers cry, watch too many candles burn, while the world keeps
30
taking
seconds,
turns.
and we're going to get started. Like everybody to please like the live and share the live.
Carry faith when hope was thin, and that's the reason we're still here. So teach the children who they are, not what the doubters say they are. Kings and queens with purpose inside, born with dignity, born with pride. I see the pain, I see the tears. I see the battles fought for years.
Get started. Salute to everybody. Yes,
we
just
can't
for Nolan
forget.
Wells.
The family still demanding respect.
We are always, every day, we are going to continue to shout this kid's name. I don't care what they throw at us. I don't care about the intimidation. I don't care about the defamation lawsuit threats. I don't care about the played stage they got in front of us. Let me change the music and turn it down because I really want y'all to hear me tonight because I'm really upset. Something is happening right before our eyes, and a lot of my people don't see it. Just in the last few days, shout out to everybody in the bushes. Let's do a little roll call first. Salute. Is it Bilk? I don't know how to say her name, but hey, Tasha, thank you so much for being here. Ramonda, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here, Darlene. Thank you so much for being here, Sherry. Thank you for being here, Mary. Thank you for being here. Is it Bilk? I'm not sure. Thank you for being here. No, we won't be silenced. We won't be silenced. And you a troll, and you came all the way over here for what? Anyway, let's get into it. Something happened. I see a shift in a coverage that Miss Nancy Grace is doing on the Nolan Wells case. About 3 days ago, I had a slew of trolls. I would see this comment everywhere, and it would go to something as, well, that's why Nancy, she removed that audio engineer's interview. I'm like, no, she didn't. What are you talking about? It's there. And I would argue back and forth with them, right? Ha ha ha. And I started seeing it more and more and more. So I went and I looked, and I'm like, it's still there. It's still there. And then I start seeing the comment more and more and more. Ha ha ha. That's why she removed that whack engineer's interview from her page. I'm like, no. I'm trying to prove a point, right? So I went back and I looked at the link that I posted, and she did. She did. My question is, why would you do that? Let me show you something. I actually recorded that whole segment. This is my live that I did on the day it was released. Look at the title. It's called Nolan Wells Bombshell, Death, Threat, Blood, So Much Blood. 3 days ago, Miss Netta's interview was embedded within this video. And I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to play just a little bit so you can see where her interview was. And people mad at me in the comments thinking that I'm trying to throw Miss Nancy under the bus. No, I'm trying to get my people to wake up. Somebody says she's all we got. No, that's who they gave us. And I don't know about nobody else. I don't want to accept who they gave us. Let me play this real quick for you. This is the original on my live. The video to start. And it has started. I'm going to skip through that part. You're going to see our good sister on here. She's towards the beginning.
Are flying. One actually says there's going to be blood, so much blood. Another death threat says, don't go outside. How can anybody do their jobs when they're getting death threats? Not only that, we understand this case is headed to a grand jury. We also learned tonight that the state's autopsy is complete, but is being kept secret. Isn't an autopsy a public document? Why is it being kept hidden from us, the public? What is in that autopsy, the first autopsy of Nolan Wells? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
The young lady, Katie, that he was hanging out with, I saw a text message from her alluding to the fact that she never saw him get on that boat at all. They could have been saying, don't die, or is it dead, referring to the bilge pump. Somebody would have seen something if there was a dramatic commotion like this occurring on that boat.
I hope Nolan Wells died by accident. I'm not shutting down our Crime Stories investigation until I know.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come? We have a membership. Shut the f*** up! What'd you say?
You know, if that sound is real, there's no getting away from that. And all this business about there's no connection. Well, I listened to a good 40 seconds of SETO, S-E-A, second word T-O-W on hold, listen to their music. There was plenty good connection. But before I can even get to the death threats of blood, so much blood everywhere, and don't step outside, and more before I can even get to the grand jury, before I can get to the autopsy that's being kept hidden from us. I want you to meet someone very important, critical to this investigation. Her name, Janetta Brantley. Miss Brantley is the audio engineer who enhanced the 911 call, the CETO call, in the Nolan Wells case. So everybody claiming some ding-dong on YouTube did it, or somebody on Insta or TikTok did it, no. She did it. I've spoken to her. I've read her statement. I want you to judge her credibility. Credibility is normally the sole province of a jury, and tonight you serve in that function. Miss Brantley, I'm sure that you're getting all sorts of abuse, threats, and so forth. It's a cacophony that seemingly won't cease. That said, thank you for being with us tonight. Explain to me where you got the audio, how you got the audio, and what, if anything, you did to enhance the audio.
First and foremost, I basically downloaded it off of YouTube from WLOX News's YouTube site. And when I downloaded it, I ripped it off of YouTube. That's the terminology that we use when we take something off of YouTube. But when I ripped it off of YouTube and I pulled it in.
Pause, please. Objection. Miss Brantley, isn't it true that the audio you got was taken directly by XLO from MDMR, correct? The Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay, please continue, Miss Brantley.
So when I downloaded it from YouTube, I pulled it into my DAW, which is Logic Pro X. That's my DAW of choice. And when I first listened to it, I realized that it was like a dual mono recording, which most, most phone services or operators utilize when they're recording conversations. And so it was already split between the caller, the dispatch, and the callers in the background. And so that's what made it easy for me to isolate it without having to do much to it. So that isolation, when I separated the left channel from the right channel, that just made me be able to really focus on everything that was on the call end. And what I was hearing was I honestly could not believe what I was hearing.
Ms. Janetta Brantley, isn't it true this is the same audio that was released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources?
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
Let's listen to it one more time.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come? We have a membership. Oh, let me go. What'd you say? It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. We're going down now. I don't know the phone number. It's either. I think it's. Try that. Everybody was on this phone. I know we have a membership, guaranteed. I don't have the tag on here. It got ripped off. What? No, we do not need that. Let me go look. Where is this? Hey, jump in and pull the plug while you're going. Oh, they got it here. Hello. Take it out of here. Okay, what's going on? What's up? Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come? We have a membership. Hello! Let's go! Hey, we're at the west tip of Bourne, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Hello! Let me go! David Bart? David Bart? David Bart?
Back to Janetta Brantley joining us tonight, and she shows herself in that video showing what she is doing. What does adding EQ mean, Ms. Brantley?
Adding EQ is basically selecting a certain frequency of the actual sound and either deleting or removing a certain noise, something that's problematic to the ear, deleting that or boosting that. That's literally all EQing is.
What was your process, Janetta? Because I was sitting researching. It was early in the morning, like 5:45 a.m. several days ago, and I was researching the Nolan Wells case, and I saw the transcript as it was being played. And my husband was also up. He said, "What's wrong?" I'm like, if this is real, this changes everything. It changes everything. Because up until that point, it seemed as if Nolan's death could very well have been an accident. If this is real, it changes everything. It's seismic. What was your reaction when you heard these words, Janetta Brantley?
I think at my core, I was in disbelief. I wasn't cleaning it or enhancing it to specifically look for or identify a crime or even point the fingers at anybody. I believe I wanted it to be an accident. I think a lot of us wanted it to be an accident. So when I heard those things, when I heard, damn it, Bart, that name stood out to me because I hadn't even heard that name before. As I was listening to certain things that stood out to me, I was in disbelief because, again, I'm just an audio engineer. I'm not an investigator, a detective, or anything like that. So when I heard a name that I wasn't familiar with, it stood out to me, and that alone made me want to hear what was immediately said after "Damn it, Bart." And so that's why in that process where "Damn it, Bart" came in loud and clear to me, I decided to go over to the next part to hear what the rest of that statement was, which is where you saw me actually create a loop over that part, split that part, and then add a gain, which the gain is boosting the volume overall. And that's pretty much what you saw me do in that actual video. And so to hear, "Damn it, Bart, Nolan's really dead now," that I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
My reaction too, Janetta, because when I first heard it, I thought this has got to be doctored. This can't be real. Don't move. Straight out to veteran trial lawyer Franz Borghardt, a veteran trial lawyer. Join me.
All right. So I'm going to rewind this so you can see the title of this video. Again, I keep seeing this comment all over the internet. That's why Nancy Grace removed that. They would call her names, Janetta names, of course, and I'll go to bat for her because we stand with Netta Brantley, right? And I'm like, no, she didn't. No, she didn't. It's still there. Okay. So I thought. It was the first day I looked, about 3 days ago. I happened to look today, and I'm going to show you something. I want you to look at the title. You guys see the title of this video? Because now I'm side-eyeing Nancy at this point. And it's the people that are mad at me right now, but they may not notice what I found out today. So, Nolan Wells, bombshell, death, threat, blood, so much blood. That is the title of the video. Let's go to Nancy Grace's page now. Because see, what you're not going to do is play in our face. I'm not saying don't watch Nancy. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is we got to be a little bit more careful and just remember how she did Carmelo. What are they really doing, basically? All right. Bear with me. I'm trying to find the tab. I'm a little nervous for some reason. Don't know why. Well, I think it's anger. I think it's anger. All right. Do y'all see the title of the video? Nolan Wells, bombshell, death threat, blood, so much blood. Same video. Same day, same video that she premiered on that day. This is the beginning of this video.
Bombshell tonight in the investigation of the death of a young man, Nolan Wells. Death threats are flying. One actually says there's going to be blood, so much blood. Another death threat says, don't go outside. How can anybody do their jobs when they're getting death threats? Not only that, we understand this case is headed to a grand jury. We also learned tonight that the state's autopsy is complete, but is being kept secret. Isn't an autopsy a public document? Why is it being kept hidden from us, the public? What is in that autopsy, the first autopsy of Nolan Wells? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
The young lady, Katie, that he was hanging out with, I saw a text message from her alluding to the fact that she never saw him get on that boat at all. They could have been saying, don't die, or is it dead, referring to the bilge pump. Somebody would have seen something if there was a dramatic commotion like this occurring on that boat.
I hope Nolan Wells died by accident. I'm not shutting down our Crime Stories investigation until I know. Judge Scott, follow up. I'm not arguing in work arts. Let's learn if we can.
Where's Miss Netta? Where's Miss Netta's interview? What did she do with it? She cut her out. She's no longer in this segment. But she didn't cut Brandon Tatum out, did she? When I tell y'all, we got to pay attention. We got to pay attention. I'm going to keep playing a little bit more. You will not find her in here no more. And I'm pissed about it. See, I ain't never forgot what she did to Carmelo. I was giving her another chance to okay, it's Nancy Grace. Let's see. This is who they gave us. My people, she is not all we got. This is who they handpicked for us. And I don't like it. I don't want it. You will not find, I went through this video. I was like, I couldn't believe it.
From what he's saying, jump.
Yeah, so whatever has been the causal factors here has got to marry up with what they were seeing at the scene, and perhaps the audio does fall into this, these statements. And I think that probably from a medical legal perspective, that is the coroner and the medical examiner are going to want to be able to fully appreciate what is being on. This is going to be to these that causal effect by deleted questions about significant what I've seen the body, not
I want you to take every fourth with him standing there stranded, waving his arms like Gilligan. That did not.
She's gone. But what caught my attention the most, Truth Gang, is how did they know? How did the trolls know? To where they came out in slews. Ha. That's why Nancy Grace took her video down of the audio engineer. How did they know? Does that make sense? Now do you see why I made the status I made today about Miss Nancy Grace? Not only that, I see so much of Brandon Tatum in her most recent shows. Can somebody answer me this? Has the parents ever been on Nancy's show talking about Nolan? Has Ben Crump, has Al Sharpton, anybody like that been on Nancy's show? And then the most recent show, I'm going to play a little clip of that. I want you to see how she's playing footsie with them now. Telling Brandon that she's not as smart as him. Telling the attorneys, I'm not saying that you're lying. I'm just asking questions. Drilling them about Nolan's phone after she already knew that this public letter was sent to the DA saying, hey, from the Wansleys and their attorneys, hey, we're waiting on you to set up an appointment in a place to do this joint forensic extraction. Let me show you. I need to show you this. You got to follow me. Because I'm mad. I don't give a damn about my people in my comments talking about you guys do the most. You just reaching. No. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. All right. Hold on a second. And I'm not saying I'm going to stop watching. Because quite literally, she's kind of all we got, but only to pick information from, if that makes sense. Don't put your faith in it. Don't put your faith in Nancy. Keep your faith in God, or even yourself. Take what you can from it, is what I'm saying. But don't think that she's coming to save the day. I don't believe that. I'm going to show you. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up. Just give me a minute. I need my people to open their eyes. This is why I'm doing this. Everybody, please hit the like button. All right.
Investigation. Tonight, the timeline seemingly blows up. This as Nolan's mother is investigated. Why? And tonight, possibly even more important, where is Nolan's phone? Good evening.
Nancy, you knew where his phone was. I believe you knew where his phone was. John Lemon had did 2 shows about the phone, trying to combat the misinformation out there that the trolls are putting out there. She's not. Why? What is she hiding? What is Miss Christine hiding? Why is she not turning over his phone? Well, she never agreed to turn over the phone. But let's keep going.
I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. We want the truth about what happened to Nolan Wells.
A Bertram boat was seen leaving shortly afterward at a high rate of speed. Pretty certain Nolan Wells was part of a group that was, quote, almost fighting around 5 p.m.
I'm on the side of finding out why everybody got back to the mainland except Nolan Wells.
I don't think they cooperated at all. They do not have Nolan's phone. They haven't had access to Nolan's phone. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department has it. So
this right here was to introduce the narrative on a huge public platform. Because Don Lemon and Ben Crump and all of them had already reiterated what they were waiting on. But this is so the world can get the new narrative they're trying to put out, which is, why isn't Miss Christine handing over the phone? What is she hiding? She's obstructing justice. You see what I'm saying? All right, I'm going to put it back up. Just listen a little bit more. I'm a little emotional right now about it because I stand with Janetta Brantley. We know what we heard, period. And you're not going to make us forget it.
how can you say that there's text message or there's photographs missing? Our boys had no reason to do anything with Nolan's phone other than give it back to Christine and her friends later that night. So anything about missing text messages or Snapchats is completely false.
Big question. That is Tyler Cox representing the so-called friends of Nolan on Horn Island. And if he's claiming that no one see the phone, how does he know that something's not missing? So that's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Let's hear that one more time from our friend Dan Abrams.
I don't think they cooperated at all. They do not have.
I'm sorry. She did not agree to turn over the phone, ma'am. She did not agree. They agreed to meet at a place so it can be a joint forensic examination of the data. They never agreed to give them the phone. They don't trust them, and I don't blame them. All right, let's keep going. I'm not going to stop it no more. I'm not going to do it.
Nolan's phone, they haven't had access to Nolan's phone. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department has it. So how can you say that there's text missing or there's photographs missing? Our boys had no reason to do anything with Nolan's phone other than give it back to Christine and her friends later that night. So anything about missing text messages or Snapchats is completely false.
That's a veteran trial lawyer. That is Tyler Cox. He's representing the young men that were on the boat that took Nolan to Horn Island and came back without Nolan, according to them. Joining me in All-Star panel, I'm not saying Cox is right or wrong, but what I am saying out to Brandon Tatum. Tatum, former police officer, Tucson, star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube. He has interviewed Nolan's acquaintances that were on the boat that day. Officer Tatum, thank you for being with us. Let me talk about this one moment. We've got so much to get to. I'm going to try to be brief. Tyler Cox stating, I don't think they cooperated at all. I think he's talking about Nolan's family. They, I guess, the sheriff's office haven't had access to Nolan's phone. Well, can't they subpoena that? It's called a subpoena ducus tecum. You're familiar.
Okay, so here's the introduction. This is where their new narrative is going. They are trying to blame the Wansleys on not turning over Nolan's phone for examination. They're trying to gaslight the world. It's a smear campaign. But my thing is, either Nancy's producers allegedly are in on some little side thing, because we see a lot of Brandon Tatum, and then the attorneys for the grown-ass men had a whole segment. Like it was nobody else there. It's a whole segment. Brandon Tatum and the attorneys, the whole hour. I don't know what's going on. All I'm saying is, first of all, why did you remove Miss Janetta Brantley's interview? To defend herself and to defend her work and to explain her work. Let's keep going.
Familiar with those. You've testified in court. A subpoena ducus tecum is, we hear about subpoenas for testimony. I've been subpoenaed. Yes, go to court and tell the truth. A subpoena ducus tecum is for an item, an object, a document. The sheriff can give out a subpoena ducus tecum or get a warrant for an object. So you don't have it? Fine, get it. Next. So how can you say I'm quoting, how can you say there's no text message or photo, as a text message or photo is missing? Our boys had no reason to do anything with Nolan's phone other than give it back. So seeing anything about missing texts or Snapchats completely false. Well, according to the mom, Officer Tatum, she says that there was nothing sent out while Nolan was at Horn Island, which she found very odd. I have no reason to disbelieve her. So how can you say there were missing or there weren't missing? I don't think you can say it either way. Why don't they just get a search warrant and go get the phone? You know what? Forget all that. Officer Tatum, where is Nolan's phone? Do authorities have it?
Nancy Grace knew that the authorities did not have Nolan's phone. She's given them a platform. Just pay attention.
Well, from my understanding, authorities do not have, and the family have not been cooperating with authorities to give the phone over. According to the testimony or written statement from the lawyer that represents the family, the Nolan Wells family, he had made mention that he's prepared to cooperate, but they have not cooperated yet, which is very interesting to me. You want to find out what happened to your son. You would think you will be doing everything you can to cooperate. I can't judge her. I don't know what's in their mind, but it just seems to be very off-putting for them not to at least give the phone over and do what exactly they told the world they were going to do.
See, she gave him a platform to push this false narrative because they never said that. They never said that. Now, wait, I'm going to skip through it. Let's get to the attorney. I want you to pay attention to the face of Edward Palzik when Nancy Grace asked him again about the phone. I'm glad you asked that. I'm glad you asked that. Y'all, open up your eyes, please. Let me skip through this part. I'm going to show you. It may not be on this one. It could be a different video that she had them on. I think it is a different video. So let me find that video. I showed you enough on this one. Let me go get the other one. Give me a minute. Just give me a second. I'm going to go get the other one. Got to go find it. And I really appreciate your patience, guys, because I'm going somewhere with this. I'm going somewhere. I just got to find her page. Here we go. Where's the one with the attorney? Right here. Yes. Yep. I want you to look at this attorney's face. It was almost like he was waiting on her. It was a planned, staged act for her to introduce this to him. I mean, he started grinning. Let's see.
Out. For me, nobody's guilty and everybody's a suspect because we don't know the truth yet, but we will. Joining us tonight, Tyler Cox, the lawyer for several of the young men with the law firm Taylor and Cox, him being the Cox. Also with us, another veteran trial lawyer, Edward Pulsick, attorney for the boys as well. Actually, they're not boys. They're adults in the eyes of the law due to their age. Gentlemen, thank you for being with us tonight. My first question to clear up this matter, have your clients taken polygraphs? First to you, Tyler Cox.
Nancy, my clients have not taken a polygraph test. And I can tell you why. Because any lawyer worth their salt is going to tell their clients not to take a polygraph test under any circumstances. Two of my clients went in and made statements with me. We're not going to I'm not going to do a polygraph test because, one, as you know, they're not admissible in court. And so it wasn't going to be admissible anyway. You should never, ever, if you're a lawyer, allow your clients to take a polygraph test. Now, we allowed investigators from the jump to have access to their phones, their Life 360, everything. We have cooperated implicitly every step of the way. But no, they didn't take polygraph tests. But what I'll tell you is one of the other boys, who I won't mention their name, but I'm sure that you've heard, took one. The girl that Nolan was with took a stress analysis voice test, and so did the other boy. So that's the test they took. Both of them passed.
Okay, you guys, I wanted the trolls to hear this again because they're still trying to say that all the boys took a polygraph test and passed. Well, Tyler Cox said one boy, not his clients, and Katie, or another girl, maybe not Katie. It could have been the girl that's that we see on the boat in the picture. Don't know. Only one boy and one girl took a stress analysis test, not a polygraph. Stop with that narrative. This is straight from the mouth of Tyler Cox. The boys did not take a polygraph test. They did not. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to skip past most of this so we can get to the part where Nancy again asked about Nolan's phone. Again, this is an introduction, giving them a platform to push this narrative that the Wansleys are they're not cooperating. They're withholding evidence and they're lying. They didn't do what they said they were going to do, which is a flat out lie. Let's go.
And so, again, no lawyer worth of salt is going to tell his clients to take a polygraph test or anything like that.
I would like to corroborate part of what Tyler Cox just said. Any defense attorney, whether they're truly convinced their client is innocent or guilty, they're not going to allow a poly. I've never seen that. I've had a couple of lawyers, maybe 3, in all the years I practiced, all the people I put behind bars, consent before trial to a poly. 3. And they were all criminal cases that carried severe penalties. So what he's saying is true. Even if you think your client is innocent, very rarely will you see a defense lawyer say, sure, take a poly. However, I disagree with you regarding their admittance into court. Polygraphs are allowed in civil trials. O.J. Simpson, he flunked horribly. And if both sides
Okay, so we're going to skip through this because I want to get to the
Police,
phone
the
part.
first very week, the days after the first, right. At the time that we first cooperated with police, the first very week, the days after, just 1 to 2 days after the disappearance of Nolan Wells, we're not thinking about a civil suit. We're not thinking about that. We're thinking about how can we provide as much information to authorities so that they can find Nolan Wells.
Okay, so we debunking another one. You got the trolls out there saying, well, they didn't get an attorney until after Nolan was found unalived and the threats start and the accusations started online. That's not true. You just heard Tyler Cox says a day or 2 after Nolan disappeared. They were retained because they wanted to get as much information to the authorities so they can find out where Nolan was. He was still missing. Let's keep going. So we got to fight these lies with the facts because they're lying.
And it was
Allegedly.
not until after we spoke to officers and investigators that Nolan, unfortunately, his body was found on Horn Island, washed up.
Did you hear that? They already spoken to the investigators, then his body was found. They lawyered up immediately. Let me skip through this part because I want to get to the part where she talks about the
remarkable
problem.
in almost every sense of the word. But
Dykema. Edward, how did you get involved in this case?
Well, I'd rather not talk about that. I can just tell you this.
Why not? I'd rather not talk about how you were retained. What is the big secret about that? Let's keep going.
I can tell you that it was through a friend of a friend.
You're kidding, right? You're kidding me. Because when you tell me I'd rather not answer.
Well, I want to
That's
protect
just
the names.
igniting me to find out how you got involved in the case.
Well, hold on. I can tell you a little bit more. I can tell you this. I can tell you a close friend who knows the Ocean Springs, Mississippi community very, very well.
Okay.
Is from the area. Connected.
Guys, let's be clear. I'm not saying stop watching Nancy Grace. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is watch it, but dissect it, if that makes sense. Because we can't get the information. This is who they handed to us to hand feed us what the little stuff that they're going to allow us to have. I'm not saying don't watch. I'm saying take everything with a grain of salt, dissect it, analyze it, pray over it. Don't just believe it, if that makes sense. All right, keep going.
Me too are here. And
I'm trying to find
Tyler and I instantly became trucks. So now we're the Blues Brothers. We just became Victor Morgan.
He's saying they haven't lied. I don't know. I have no reason to disbelieve your clients or to believe them. But you do know that people can look you right in the face and lie through your teeth, and you believe them. I've done it. I've had witnesses that I found out were lying to me, and it was a huge blow. I've had police officers. I worked a child trafficking case. My first child trafficking case. Worked it. I finally found the little girl. I went into a room full of sex workers. They went, she's in there. I'm like, there's no child in there. They went, she's the one in the white boots.
Okay, let me.
Sheila,
This is not
we
it.
won the case.
I need to get to that part.
But fast forward about 10 months, these horrible federal court sketches on killing some voters.
Small talk.
And they got indicted by the feds. And I have been out on the street with them. Somebody tells you
This, they were off Horn Island at 4:30 p.m. on July 4th, and Nolan Wells was seen alive.
Now we're getting somewhere. How can you prove that to me other than them telling you? I assume you've got GPS tracking and the call to CTO.
We have witnesses among other things, but I can also tell you this. They were off the island at 4:30 p.m. and Nolan Wells was seen alive by multiple people at 6 p.m. still on the island. And I'm sure Tyler would be happy to elaborate on that. But this is a no doubt 100%.
Please tell me, Tyler.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I don't believe any of these people, and I don't disbelieve any of these people. I want to hear about witnesses that spotted him alive after 4:30, because I believe I can confirm the boat left around 4:30. And I'm referring to the Triton. That's the boat they were on.
So,
there are a lot of boats. Let's see the video of all the boats out
All
there.
right, so
When I say Triton,
little bit,
I'm
unless
talking
you guys
about the
wanna listen
boat
to it
Nolan
again. I'm not
was
sure.
on the way to the island. There's a lot of boats out there.
I'm trying to get to the.
Even if he did drown, that does not mean that there wasn't foul play. Why is that mark on the back of his head? Was he hit on the head and fell in the water? Was he held under the water? Was it an accident? I don't know. But I am very interested in witnesses that place him alive at 6 p.m. Please tell me, Tyler Cox.
So, Nancy, look, we have had multiple witnesses reach out to us, two confirmed witnesses that saw Nolan Wells on the island around 6 p.m. on July 4th, well after the Triton, as you said, left around 4:30. And so those witnesses have went to investigators, they've talked to the police, and they've done what they're supposed to do. We've cooperated 100%. So has
Where did they
those
see
witnesses.
him, Tyler Cox? Where did the witnesses see them? Do they know him well enough to make a positive ID? Hey, speaking of a positive ID, control room, please pull up a photo that we showed a couple of days ago. There are 2 or 3 women, white females, walking along the beach, as I recall, each clad in a bikini. There is one, I believe, a white male and one black male walking with them. That can you zoom in a little bit? That's not really helping me that much. For instance, did your witnesses know Nolan? Can they identify him? Because I'm looking right at this and I cannot identify if the male behind the female on the white, the female wearing a white hat, I can't tell if that's Nolan or not. It's a very blurry photo. I can't make it out. So, do your witnesses know him? I mean, let me see my guess, please. Mr. Polczyk, Mr. Cox, I know the two of you. I don't see both of them. There they are. The two of you have tried a lot of cases, as have I, to get in or attack an eyewitness. You, and it's in the code, the official code of Mississippi annotated. There are prescribed methods under which you cross-examine an eyewitness. For instance, does the witness know the target? Was the lighting sufficient? How far away was the witness? What were the conditions of the eyewitness identification? Was the eyewitness inebriated or high or otherwise incapacitated? How far away were they? Do they wear glasses? It goes on and on and on. It's laid out in the code. Tell me about these witnesses. How do they know it was Nolan? Hey, control room, show me that picture of Nolan on the boat. He's bent over. All I can see are his legs and his behind. The only reason I think that's Nolan is because it matches his swimsuit. Did they see that? How can they identify Nolan? First to you, Tyler.
Well, I'm not sure if the witnesses saw that picture that you just put on screen, but I can confirm to you that these witnesses know Nolan. They've known him for a long time. They were able to make a positive ID. And they told that to investigators. They told them that from the very start.
Had they been drinking?
That I do not know.
How are they sure it was 6 o'clock? Look, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm asking.
Okay. I see a very huge difference in the way that she is approaching them. She's not the bulldog that she was before. When she very first started the Nolan Wells case, she was a bulldog. Pay attention. Please. Let's keep going.
The questions I would ask in court. How do they know it was 6 o'clock? Did they go, oh, there's Nolan Wells at 6 p.m.?
Well, I'm pretty sure, Nancy, they were aware of the time. I'm not sure if they were drinking or not, but they're the ones that came forward to police and investigators, and that's their story to tell. What I'm telling you is they made a positive ID on Nolan Wells around 6 o'clock, and they told that to investigators, all while our clients were off the island around 4:30. So we have positive identification on Nolan on the island an hour and a half after our clients left. So as you know from your experience as a prosecutor, they can't do two things at once. They can't be on the island at 6 o'clock and be on the boat going off the island at 4:30. So that's where we are. Our clients have nothing to do with the death of Nolan Wells. We don't know how he died. We want to know. Please tell us. Somebody. We want to know just as much as anyone else. Our clients loved Nolan Wells. They were brothers to Nolan Wells. I've still yet to hear one bad thing about Nolan Wells. He was a good Ocean Springs kid. Just as Chuck Bordy says all the time in the courtroom, these are good Ocean Springs people. So Nolan was a good Ocean Springs person too. They love Nolan. We want to know. Will someone
Okay, just
please
stop right there,
tell us?
Tyler. Tyler, I've got 1 hour and nobody's running for miscongeniality. Let's just let it be noted, judicial notice. They were all good. Everybody's good. Okay. Tyler,
Yes.
the witnesses that came forward, here's something that would tend to corroborate them is if multiple witnesses said the same thing. Witnesses separated in time and space, witnesses that are not all friends, witnesses that are not good friends with your clients, that may have a reason to be fuzzy on the time. I'm not saying they are or that they're not. Here's my question to you. Are these witnesses friends of your clients?
I don't think they're friends, and they're not even the same age.
Okay. Next question. How many witnesses place him there on the island at 6-ish?
At least 2 that I know.
2. Do the witnesses know each other?
Yes.
Were they together that day?
Yes.
Have they had a chance to discuss their recollections with each other before they came to police?
Well, I'm sure they did. Nancy, look, they did what they were supposed to do, and they spoke to police officers. And you know as well as I do that if investigators or a DA's office had any sort of probable cause to make an arrest in a case like this, they would have.
Or they may be gathering evidence to make sure they've got all the evidence that there is. I mean, I would wait until I had all the evidence, including a completed autopsy. You know what? I'm going to jump ahead. But regarding the body, regarding Nolan's body, we've heard all sorts of inflammatory things. But the one thing that, well, many things are very interesting and probative.
Do you see that she's like kind of being super careful now? Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? It's like she's double thinking about what she's going to ask. And that's not Nancy. Not the one that I'm used to. Let's keep going.
For instance, why was Nolan's neck of so much interest to the original medical examiner that it was removed? His foot wasn't removed. His toe wasn't removed. His ear wasn't removed. Why his neck? The lungs and the neck were removed, which obviously Edward Pulsick touches on COD, cause of death. I understand why the medical examiner took his lungs. He had to run tests on them to determine, did he drown? Of course, all three of us know you can drown and there still be foul play. Somebody whacked you on the head. If somebody held you underwater, it could be any number of things, or it could be an innocent drowning. But why the throat? What was curious about the throat, Ed? Were there marks on the throat? Was there a ligature mark? Was there manual strangulation? Was there a compression? Were there bruises? Were there scratches? I don't know. Was a hyoid missing? I could go on, but I won't. Do either of you know what was of interest to the medical examiner in the removal of Nolan's throat?
I'll tell you this. Listen, we're not coroners. We're not medical examiners.
For the people that just got here, I need you to understand why I am scrutinizing Miss Nancy Grace. I'm not saying don't watch her. I'm not saying that at all. Continue to watch. I'm going to watch. She removed Miss Janetta Brantley's interview about the seat toe call. Completely cut her out of the video. And now I'm angry because we all know that the seat toe call is a smoking gun, is the smoking gun. She removed it, and the trolls and the bots knew it. And that's how I found out, because they're all over the internet boasting about it. How did they know so fast? So I did my research, and I just showed it in the beginning. It's gone. Not the whole video that day, but just the portion that she played the seat toe call and she interviewed Miss Janetta Brantley. I stand with Netta. I know what I heard on that call. So if she went to the extent to do that, I'm scrutinizing everything now. Because all I see now on her show is Brandon Tatum. A lot. Pay attention. That's all I'm saying. And I still haven't forgot how she did our nephew Carmelo, if that makes sense. Let's get back to it. I just want you guys to pay attention to what's happening. It's shifted somewhere.
We want to know what happened to him just as much as everyone else. Quite frankly, more. Because Nolan was their best friend. Warren, Morgan, Jax. Nolan was their best friend. We want to know what happened. We haven't examined Nolan's body. We're not scientists.
I just thought maybe you had been somehow told why they took his throat. Okay, that's a note. We don't know why they took his throat.
Yeah, we don't want to speculate.
Let me start with an open-ended question to you, gentlemen. I started with, why haven't they taken a polygraph? I want to hear what your clients are saying happened that day, because my interest is piqued because you stated a young lady, and I assume this is Katie, the mysterious Katie, who turns out not to be that mysterious at all. Much was made of that. Now, one thing about Katie, originally, one or some of your clients said he was with some girl, we don't know her. Then it turned out they had been texting with her. So they did know her. There may be an innocent explanation for that or not. So explain to me, who are they talking about when they said he was with a girl, we don't know her? He had never met her before, but yet they were texting with Katie, the girl he had been with. I'll throw that to you, Tyler. Do you know the answer to that?
Sure. So they didn't know Katie, and they believe that Nolan didn't know Katie before that day. But you have to remember, once they started getting suspicious that Nolan wasn't with them anymore, they start asking themselves, okay, well, where's Nolan? They start texting everyone that they knew. Hey, have you seen Nolan? Do you know where Nolan is? Did he make it back home? All before they called Christine Wells that night they start asking everybody. And so eventually they end up getting, through mutual friends, whoever, Katie's number. And so I believe it was maybe either Snapchat or text message. They got in communication with Katie. And Katie says, I don't know. We thought he was leaving with y'all. Well, I don't believe that's the case, obviously, because he did not leave with our boys. We don't know what happened to him, but that's Katie's statement. That's how they got a hold of Katie's numbers, because they're frantically trying to find out what happened to Nolan.
What's your take on it, Ed? Because I think he's saying they did know Katie. I couldn't tell if he said did or didn't.
Where's the fire in Nancy Grace while talking to these attorneys? She took down the CTO call. She took down Miss Janetta Brantley's interview, cut it completely out as if she did not exist. And now this is how she's acting and questioning the attorneys.
Did he say they all did know Katie?
No, they did not.
They didn't know Katie. All right. And they determined who she was. Okay.
Right.
Hey, hold on. Tyler, you stated your clients began to get suspicious, whereas Nolan. When did they get suspicious?
It was later that night. I believe it was around 9 or 10 o'clock, maybe even 11, that they start saying, oh, well, has anyone seen Nolan? Where's Nolan? Did he make it back home? Does anybody know? They start calling around, texting, asking everybody. And once they determined that no one had the answer about where Nolan was, that's when they called Christine Wells. And then they stay on the phone. My client stayed on the phone with Christine Wells for about 5 or 6 minutes. And then he tells her, look, I'm going to call the Coast Guard just to make sure. And he did. He stays on the phone with the Coast Guard for 21 minutes.
Okay. Ed Pulsick, also veteran trial
Who are
lawyer.
we watching? Guys.
Ed, do you concur?
I mean, let's be real. Let's think about it. Who are we watching right now? Let's keep going.
With that explanation of why they first said, I don't know her, we don't know her, he didn't know her, and then we find out that they had actually been texting with Katie. What's your understanding of that? Again, I had my favorite trial judge, Luther Alverson, would tell every jury, it is your duty to make all witnesses speak the truth. What does that mean? To reconcile the different seemingly conflicting stories to make everyone be telling the truth and impugn perjury on no one. So maybe there's an explanation for this. Why did they say we don't know her and then they're texting her? So they did know her.
That characterization, they didn't say that. There's no contradiction. I can just tell you this. They didn't know her. Nolan was with her much of the day. And he was still on the island when they left. He apparently spent much of the day with this young lady. That seems to be what happened. But no, there was this young lady was not part of their friend group. That's right.
Okay, so when they say they didn't know her, but yet they were.
I'm glad you said that, but drop off. If he wasn't here in the beginning, that may be very well true, but why would she cut out Miss Janetta Brantley's interview about the CTO call? Why would she cut that out? Why would she completely cut out the CTO call? That was the smoking gun. So this is not new. That's the first thing she did. Why would she do that? If she really was on the side of truth, why would she do that? Let's keep going. Pay attention, my people. And don't forget what she did to Carmelo.
Texting her, they did know her name.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that characterization. Yeah, the
well,
premise.
Enlighten me. I want to know.
Flawed. Yeah, the premise is flawed. She's not part of their friend group. They don't know her. I can tell you that it does appear, once again, it appears that Nolan was with this young lady for much of the day. That does seem to be confirmed by many witnesses. And I can tell you this, Nancy, one thing about this island, I did have the opportunity to go to Horn Island. And when you go to the island, everything starts to make sense. The first picture was maybe not so accurate. If you go to the part of Horn Island where, these events all occurred, you see that there are really no trees on that part of the island. It's flat, it's open. There are no visual obstructions. So there's no trees, there's no shelter, there's no nothing. And it was broad daylight with thousands of people there, meaning there was no opportunity for foul play during daylight hours. And that's where this whole thing starts to unravel.
Ed,
you have to go to the island.
Please,
you have to go to the
opportunity for foul play. He could have been walked
Not
on
in
the
this
head on a
environment.
boat,
Not
and pushed
in-
over.
I'm telling you, not in this
It doesn't have to
environment.
be
I
on the
was there.
beach. It could
I'm
be
telling you.
anywhere.
You got to understand, it's a 10-mile long barrier island.
Guys, have you ever seen Nancy Grace as the one compromising? Look at her persona. She's not leading this show. They are leading this show. Please, just pay attention is all I'm asking.
But it's only a few hundred yards wide in most places. There's nowhere to hide.
Let me see the video and show it to Ed and Tyler. The video of all those boats. Anything could have happened between those boats. Anything.
Well, but
Even
but
an
Nancy,
accident could happen between those boats. And so
but
many
Nancy-
people are drunk. I don't think they're paying attention.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? We could always say anything is possible. An asteroid could strike right now. But I am telling you that there are a lot of people who have talked about this case and have said things that are not true, and they haven't been to the island. They've got to go to the island. If you don't go to the island, you can't speak with authority about the case. And I won't name names, but a lot of people who have hurt these fine young men and have defamed them, they've never visited the island. And I'm willing to bet that they've never visited the islands.
Sorry,
Look at
guys.
it right there. That shot you have right there. Broad daylight with thousands of people there. The picture speaks for itself.
I agree with what you're saying. I agree.
Here we are. I agree with what you're saying. I agree. Where is the Nancy that we would know that would say something like, well, if they were fine young men, why would they leave Nolan on the island without his phone? That is who she used to be when it came to this case. Pay attention.
That it would be nearly impossible for foul play to take place on that beach. Again, I direct your attention to the gathering of boats with the boats closely together. Everybody's drinking. Nobody's paying attention. Like, I can't tell what's going on between the boats at a distance. I don't know. I don't know what's happening in the water. I don't know. That
I can tell you
said,
this.
I agree. I don't think anything
Yes.
happened out in the plain view on the beach. But there
Yes.
are other
And-
alternatives.
I want to add, though, we have a difference of opinion. When I see that video of the boats in the water there, that also is not a good place to get away with murder. Now, we have been very careful. We have refrained from speculation. We have refrained from guessing, and we're going to continue to do that. However, plain view of that scene, the beach, the boats, the water, that is not a secretive environment. It just isn't.
I agree the beach is not secretive, and I also agree the whole island is not secretive because there's really nowhere to hide there anyway. Guys, let me move to the boat, the Triton. Has the boat been searched by authorities?
I do not believe that it has been searched by authorities, but it's been available to authorities this entire time. If authorities wanted to come see it, they're more than able to, and have been.
Okay, I find that very interesting, Tyler, and I'll tell you why. In so many cases that I've prosecuted and covered and investigated, you see defendants, targets, trying to get rid of evidence. You see them cleaning the boat. You see them washing it down. You see them trying all sorts of methods to get rid of evidence. It's interesting to me and somewhat probative that your clients have offered the boat up to law enforcement to come and search it. I'm curious, has the boat not just been searched with the naked eye? Has luminol been used on the boat? Has alternative light sources been used on the boat? Has a cadaver dog come to the boat? Has a scent dog come to the boat? To your knowledge, either one of you.
To my knowledge, Nancy, I do not believe that has happened. But again, my 3 clients, either one of them, none of them own that boat. So if it has, you would have to ask the owners.
Tyler, do I look like I just fell off the turnip truck? Maybe I do, because we did sell turnips at the farmer's market when I was growing up. That said, you telling me my clients don't own the boat, so you'd have to ask the owner. Come on, you and Paulsick know if the boat has been searched. You know if cadaver dogs or scent dogs, luminol or alternative light has been used on the boat. Can you just tell me? Yes, no. It's not your client's fault. It's law enforcement's fault if they haven't done it.
We are literally watching Nancy Grace beg. I just cannot believe what I'm seeing. Let's keep going.
If authorities thought that there was something to find on that boat, don't you think this far out they would have already done it?
I would think in the ordinary course of an investigation into potential foul play, I would have gone out there and done it. Just
But if you believe there was potential foul play.
Just to say I searched it and it was clean. I didn't find any blood.
Well, Nancy,
Cadaver
you're
dog
asking a
didn't
valid.
hit.
Hold on, you're asking a valid question. You're just asking the wrong people. That's a question for law enforcement.
To your knowledge, has it been searched? Have you been told by anyone that it was searched?
I don't have
I have
any
not been told
involvement
that,
with the
no.
law enforcement. I don't have any involvement in the investigation.
I'm
We're
gonna take
conducting
that
our
as
own
a no.
investigation. You can take it how you want. We're conducting our own investigation.
Let me say this, and I'm going to skip through this part. When has Nancy ever allowed anybody to talk to her like that? You can take it how you want. You can take it how you want. When has she ever allowed something like that to slide? I'm going to skip through this part.
AI to steal from you. Again, can you realize? Taylor Cox, the lawyer for several of the young men. Also with us, Edward Paulsick, attorney for the boys as well. Tell me what you can about the CTO call. I've had renowned experts say, this wasn't doctored. I've had renowned experts say, this was totally doctored. Have you heard the original CTO call from Mississippi Department Marine Resources? Have either of you listened to that call? Because I've heard it so many times.
Listen, for the people who just got here and think that I'm attacking Nancy, I want you to understand something. It's not an attack. It's an observation. Because I want to know why she removed Janetta Brantley's interview about the CTO call. I want to know why she secretly removed it. And then I also want to know, how did the other side, the trolls, know? And we didn't know. That's why I'm scrutinizing her statements right now. That's why I'm going back to see exactly when the narrative switched. Because, see, I stand with Janetta Brantley. The CTO call is the smoking gun. So my question is, why would you remove her interview where she was explaining how she cleaned up the audio, where she was explaining her process and showing her process? Why would Nancy Grace remove it? So everything on out, I'm going to scrutinize. Because now I see a play going on. And guys, please spell your curse words wrong. Let's keep going. In the chat, please don't curse.
I'm now jaded based on what people think they're hearing, based on enhancements. I even had my own producer, who does not have a dog in this fight, no skin in the game, enhance it. But I want to hear what you guys know about the CETO call. My mind is open.
Look, anybody can adjust the gain. Anybody can enhance it or sweeten it. But it doesn't change the fact that just because you put words over some audio means that those words are now attributable to what is on the call. Look, another boy called CETO. We have video that was released of Brandon Tatum. He posted it, and it shows who all was on the boat. At no point in time does this CETO call ever, not once, where you find any sort of mention of Nolan being on the boat, of something happening to Nolan. I cannot state clearly enough, Nolan was not on the boat when it departed around 4:30. Look, the video that you're showing now, does anyone look like, and look, there's the boy that's on the CETO call right there. Does anyone look like there's a body on the boat or something had just happened? Look, Nancy, you were a prosecutor for a long time.
Okay, so not only did she take out our good sister Janetta's Brantley's interview, just cut her just all the way out of the original video. We saw that. We wind it to the beginning of the live. You'll see where I proved it. She's now, to me, playing footsies with these people. Calm, low-key agreeing with everything that they're saying. Pay attention, people. That's all I'm trying to get you to do. That's it.
None of these boys have a story that is untrue. Don't you think that after all this time, somebody would have snitched? That somebody wouldn't be able to keep their story straight? No. Look, these boys are telling the truth.
Typically, you're absolutely right. That's why I usually don't believe in conspiracies, because nobody can keep their yap shut. Somebody blabs.
She is literally agreeing with everything that these attorneys are saying. Come on, guys. I know you guys see it. I know you see the change. Literally sitting here agreeing with everything.
And Nancy, now I'll say something about the CETO call. I have heard a lot of versions of the CETO call. And most of them are either completely fake or AI or doctored. And unfortunately, for folks that are doing that, that may become the subject of one or more lawsuits. It appears that there are hundreds of versions of the CETO call all over the internet, everywhere online. So now nobody can keep track of it. But I can tell you that. I can tell you, look at those photos. Nolan Wells is not on.
I'm going to let her finish real quick because I'm going to say something.
On that
The photos to me are very convincing.
Okay, she skipped right over that, right? The Nancy Grace, we knew would have said, That is the call that Janetta Brantley downloaded directly from the website that was connected to the FOIA request. My own producer cleared it up as well. And we heard the same thing, like she did back then, right? No, she didn't do that this time. She's about to agree with them again. Pay attention.
Let's see the photo they're talking about again.
Yes, I'm glad we agree about that. I'm glad we
do
agree.
I know what time that was or what day that was? Is there a timestamp? Look,
Yeah,
I'm not
4:30.
saying either of you are lying. I'm saying this is how I would test evidence in court. I mean, I take everything with a box of salt. When was that taken? Where was it taken? What time was it taken?
Yeah.
I'm curious. Is it timestamped?
And Nancy,
Well,
you've been
Nancy,
trying this case for over 30 days. The facts are the facts are the facts. These boys had nothing to do with the death of Nolan Wells.
Okay,
Listen,
when was
we
the
don't-
timestamp on that video?
Nancy, I'm going to answer it this way.
Yes.
We don't think
Okay.
that you're accusing us of lying. We don't feel that way. We're just simply saying this. And it's okay. You're asking legitimate investigative questions. And we don't fault you for that. But here's what we're saying. It's been over 30 days. There has never been one shred one iota, one piece, nothing. There is no evidence that ties Warren, Morgan, or Jax to any crime because they did not commit a crime. They had
That
nothing
may very well
whatsoever
be
to
true.
do. Right.
And
there's
again,
nothing.
what's timestamp on that video?
But that's not our burden. See, that's the problem. You're putting this burden on us. All right. There's never been one
No,
piece of
you
evidence.
did that to yourself, Paulsick, when
No,
you
we
said,
didn't.
here's the boat that day and he's not on it. That may very well be true. That may be
no,
absolutely
we
true.
Didn't, we
and
didn't
I'm
do that
saying,
to ourselves.
when was the video
What?
taken?
Well, no, I'm telling you.
Around
that we have
4:30,
multiple-
July 4th.
Yeah. And I'm telling you another thing, Nancy. We have multiple witnesses, and we're going to protect their names on the air here. We're not going to air out a
think you
private
should.
list of witnesses. We are.
The Nancy Grace that we are accustomed to would have said, can you please send my producers or my investigators the metadata to the video? Can you send us the metadata? Not once did she said that. She literally is just asking, what's the timestamp? That's a gaslight. The Bulldog Nancy would have said, can you send us the metadata? Let's keep going.
We're going to protect them. So I want to emphasize that as well. The witnesses that we're talking about, we're not going to do that to them. We're not going to name them here on the air. We're not doing that.
I'm not
So-
asking you to.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you are.
I'm asking you
But we're
again when the timestamp is on that video. But if you don't know, I'm not saying that that's wrong or right.
Well, I'm not.
I'm saying
No,
I want to know
understand that.
to
I understand that, but
corroborate
that's
that
not-
video.
I understand that, but that's not a relevant question for your present guest since we didn't make the video. But I can tell you this.
Okay. Well, you showed me
Where's-
the video, and that's why I'm asking. Okay. Let me ask
Well,
you
we didn't-
something else.
Yeah, we didn't show you. We didn't
state
show
that
you
your
Yeah,
clients
go ahead.
know of witnesses, or you know of witnesses that placed
Yes.
Nolan at Horn Island alive at 6 p.m.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
All of this aside, all of the has the boat been searched? Where is Nolan's phone? Where are your client's phone? All that is superseded by the fact that there may be witnesses placing him alive on the island at 6 p.m. And everything else disappears for me if that is true, because I know your clients were gone at 4:30-ish.
Yes.
Have these witnesses been questioned by law enforcement? Do you know?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
You're sure?
Yes. Yes. And I'll tell you another thing. One other.
All right. Thank you for your comment. Is it Annette? I really appreciate that. But can you please spell your curse words wrong? But again, if you were not here at the beginning, I'm pointing things out because what she did was, again, removed Janetta Brantley's interview in the Cito call. I would love to know why she removed Janetta Brantley, the young lady who cleared up the Cito call, and we all know what we heard. Why she removed it, and how the hell did they know about it? Because they immediately start trolling us in the comments. I thought they were lying. I had to go check. Look for the comments where they're now making fun of it. How did they know what she did? If somebody on her team didn't tell them. You got to think. I'm not saying don't watch Nancy. We got to get what we can get. But I am going to say do not 100% trust. That's what I'm saying. Thank you. Let's keep going.
There's a corollary, Nancy. There's a corollary. So there are witnesses who can place Nolan Wells on the island at 6 p.m. There are also witnesses who can confirm that Warren, Morgan, and Jax left the island around 4:30. So both sides are covered. We've got it covered.
Well, for me, it's not that simple because I still don't know what happened to Nolan Wells. However,
Neither do we.
I believe that the GPS, which really cannot be controverted, shows when the Triton left. Witness or no witness. I've got that. Now, who's on the boat? I believe that video is going to tell me who's on the boat. But all that, the overarching issue is, was he alive at 6 p.m.? This is where I'm going.
Right. And Nancy,
I don't
can I say
care
Nancy,
who
one thing.
was with him last. I don't care if it exonerates or convicts anybody. I just want to know the truth.
And it's good to ask,
Sir?
and I want to say this, it's good to ask tough questions. These are all valid questions, but what we're trying to do for you is simplify it. 4:30 and 6 p.m. End of story.
I want to believe you. I want to believe you, Ed. But just because somebody says so, don't make it so. And I'm trying to prove it. That your clients were gone and that Nolan, more importantly, in my mind, was still alive. If that's true, your clients are in the clear. As far as I'm concerned.
They are in the clear.
And the CETO call and everything else falls away. If I can place.
Boom. And the CETO call and everything else falls away. Your clients are clear. Y'all need to stop putting faith in this. And when I tell you, they're not going to stand 100% with us. She was given to us, and this is all an act. It's all a movie. I want you guys to hear that one more time.
And Jax left the island around 4:30. So both sides are covered. We've got it covered.
Well, for me, it's not that simple because I still don't know what happened to Nolan Wells. However,
neither do we.
I believe that the GPS, which really cannot be controverted, shows when the Triton left. Witness or no witness. I've got that. Now, who's on the boat? I believe that video is going to tell me who's on the boat. But all that, the overarching issue is, was he alive at 6 p.m.? This is where I'm going.
Right. And Nancy,
I don't
can I say
care
Nancy, one
who
thing.
was with him last. I don't care if it exonerates or convicts anybody. I just want to know the truth.
And it's good to ask,
Sir?
and I want to say this, it's good to ask tough questions. These are all valid questions, but what we're trying to do for you is simplify it. 4:30 and 6 p.m. End of story.
I want to believe you. I want to believe you, Ed. But just because somebody says so, don't make it so. And I'm trying to prove it. That your clients were gone and that Nolan, more importantly, in my mind, was still alive. If that's true, your clients are in the clear. As far as I'm concerned.
They are in the clear.
And the CETO call and everything else falls away if I can place him alive at 6 p.m. And the people that want to hang your clients, I can't help their unrequited anger.
Yes.
I don't care. Because somebody, in my mind, was the last person to see Nolan Wells alive, whether it's your clients or somebody else. And I want to find that person that saw this. You say 6 o'clock. Who are they? Make yourselves known. Put us all out of our misery. Help me find out what happened to Nolan.
Yes.
Nancy, can I
I
ask
can
you this?
understand. I'm just trying to find out. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Why in the world would these witnesses make themselves public after you've seen more than 30 days of death threats, in-person threats, credible threats, people making threats and getting arrested, all geared towards these boys and others? Why would they become public? Why would they
here's
come
one
out
answer.
public?
One answer is they're telling the truth and they want to put it out there. Another possibility
the truth
is
investigators.
Everybody already knew who they were, so they went out on Tatum to exonerate themselves. I mean, that could go either way. But I see what you're saying. I get it.
And Nancy,
I still don't know.
have you ever seen any other people accused of the crimes that online internet trolls have accused these boys of go and do podcasts, do interviews, have their attorneys go and advocate for them like this on a national platform like this? if we weren't 100% sure and they weren't 100% sure that nothing they did was in connection to Nolan Wells' death. They left the island at 4:30. He was spotted on the island after that at 6, alive and well. That's it. End of story. Do you think these are actions of 3 boys who, 1, keep their story straight, 2, don't snitch on each other, and 3, have made and had to have made to defend themselves multiple media appearances and have their attorneys do the same? Are those the actions of someone who is guilty? No.
Typically, no, I agree with you. But there are cases where killers go out in the front of it and make all sorts of pleas. Please bring my wife home. Please bring my little babies home. Yes, I have seen that. I know that's not what you want to hear, but yes, I have seen it.
Right. And Nancy, let me give you a really important point here. And by the way, I appreciate some of the things you're saying. And let me just say this. This might be the most important thing. Look, we have a lot of humility. Warren, Morgan, and Jax have a lot of humility. One of the things that we knew when we were going to come on with you is we know you're going to ask us tough questions. We know you're going to ask us tough questions. And we're happy to answer them as best we can. But one thing we've been very consistent about, there are so many things we don't know, right? We won't be able to answer all of your tough questions. And the reason we can't is because we just don't know the answer to a lot of them. But we do know what we know. We know they were off that island at 4:30. We know Nolan was on the island at 6. We just want to emphasize our humility in that regard because we just don't know, and we would love to know. We want to know how this tragedy happened as much as anyone, more than anyone.
I want both of you gentlemen to understand something. If I thought I had convicted the wrong person, I couldn't live with myself. I personally.
Who is this before us? And where is Nancy Grace? Who is this woman? Where's Nancy? I'll keep going.
Investigated every case I ever tried and put before a jury. I do not want the wrong person, an innocent person, to suffer claims and allegations, much less go to jail. But I do want the right person, if there is a right person.
Right, if there is.
Which leads me to, I want to believe you and I want to believe your clients. But for me, everything is what can I prove? What can I prove? They say so, so what? Prove it to me. Let me ask you this. Do you know where Nolan's phone is? Anybody?
This is what I want you to really pay attention to, because this is something she already knows. Don Lemon covered it. The news covered it. The letter had already been sent to the DA a couple of days before this. So she knew already that they are waiting on a joint extraction, a joint forensic examination of the cell phone. This is where the play is coming in. She wants to allow them again to introduce to the world that the Wansleys are keeping the phone from being examined or not turning it over to the authorities on purpose. This is the new narrative. They never agreed to turn the phone over. They've only said that we will do a joint forensic examination of Nolan's cell phone. Pay attention. Immediately watch Edward Palzik's face. He was waiting on that question, this scripted interview. He was waiting on it. Look at this, the smirk on his face. I'm mad. First of all, don't be playing my girl Janetta. She's the truth. We heard what we heard on the CTO call, and now you're going to play in our face about Nolan's cell phone. No, I still haven't got over Carmelo, Nancy. Let's go.
Do you know where Nolan's phone is? Anybody? Can anybody tell me where Nolan's phone is?
Good question.
Right now, as we sit here today.
Has it ever been turned over to authorities?
No, it has not.
You're sure?
Yeah. I believe that Ben Crump, using local counsel, sent a letter out just last night, gave it to Don Lemon on his show, and Don Lemon on his show confirmed that they have not given the phone to investigators.
Didn't she already ask Brandon Tatum that on the video before that? So twice she has she's used her platform to introduce and allow them to spread this false narrative. Let's keep going.
Well, that's on investigators because they need to get the phone and they need to look at it.
How are they going to get it if they don't give it to them?
Warrant? Subpoena Dukas Tecum? Grand jury subpoena Dukas Tecum?
Sure, but it hasn't been to the grand jury
found?
yet. Hasn't been to the grand jury.
Look at Edward Palzik's face. Look at him. Just look at this smuck. He's grinning and yeah, they're the ones not playing. They're the ones that are obstructing justice. Yep, it's the Wansleys. It's the Wansleys.
Are you telling me you don't think a grand jury is convening on this?
I think they are. I don't think they have looked at
Well, you said, how do you get the phone? You obviously get the phone. Police go say, hey, can we look at the phone? And they go, sure, here it is. That's one way.
Well,
or you're
what if they don't give it to
investigating potential crime. You get a warrant and you go, hey, give me the phone. Here's the warrant. That's two ways. Or you get a grand jury or a judge's order. There's all sorts of ways to get that phone.
Well, Nancy,
you could
Nancy,
just ask
why,
and they hand it over.
Yeah, Nancy,
why
why
didn't they give it to
why
him?
has the yeah, Nancy, why? Yeah, why is that phone hasn't been turned over?
See?
Why?
See?
Why?
I guess
Why would
it
the
hasn't
DA's
been
office
asked
need to
for,
get a warrant?
But I think it should.
See what I'm saying? Why? Yep. Why? Yep. Nancy, why hasn't that phone been turned over? They never said they was going to turn it over. All right. I want to bring you to a different clip now because I'm about tired of looking at Edward Smuck Palzik. Let's keep going. I'm not asking you guys to stop watching. I'm going to still watch because that's where we can get our information from, right? But I want you guys to understand they handpicking platforms now. And it's by design. It's by design. They're handpicking platforms and releasing little Easter eggs to try to stir a narrative. What I'm saying is watch, but don't always believe it. Take it with a grain of salt, if that makes sense. That's what I'm saying. All right, so let me bring up a different clip. And thank you guys for your patience. If you can please hit the like button for me, that would be great. And share it live. Again, I just want everybody that is for justice and finding out the truth just to be careful and just learn to watch. If that makes sense. All right, so let me see. Let's bring up this one. Because I'm not the only one that noticed this. So it's always best to have a witness. All right, let's get into it. Family. And turn the music down.
Nancy Grace needs to fire her producers immediately. And if you don't fire them, please at least suspend them. How could Nancy Grace's producers allow her to do an interview and not know exactly where Nolan Wells' phone is? Especially an interview with Officer Dingbat. Former Officer Dingbat is the last person that we want to give any wins to. If Nancy's producers would have done a little bit of investigative journalism, they would have found out that Nolan's phone is with Christine, his mom, awaiting forensic inspection, dual forensic inspection. I told you guys this yesterday. Nancy, you've been doing a fantastic job covering this Nolan Xavier Wells case, but your producers have let you down. When I'm done reluctantly giving Brendan Tatum a very small win, I will let you guys know the details of the press conference yesterday that Al Sharpton, Benjamin Crumb, and Nolan's parents held, and also gave us an update on Nolan's phone. But not only did they talk about Nolan's phone, we also have an update on Nolan's autopsy. There has been a ton of developments in the past 24 hours in the Nolan Xavier Wells case. Sit back, relax. I'll tell you everything you need to know, and then I'll hand it off to you, the Out Louders. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's talk about the cell phone. Nancy Grace last night had no idea where Nolan's cell phone was. Literally the same day where I told you where Nolan Xavier Wells' phone is. Investigative journalism is very, very important. Before I play you the clip, I want to make something very, very clear. I have a lot of respect for Nancy Grace. I have been following her coverage, and I'm very happy, I'm sure like a lot of you are too, that she has been bringing this case onto her platform. Nancy is a legend in this game, and her bringing it to her platform has brought it to a demographic that, for example, myself or even Don Lemon can't. She brings it to a white demographic, let's just call a spade, and Nancy comes from mainstream media like Don Lemon, but she's coming from a white lens, and I think it's really great. I do not fault Nancy whatsoever for making this mistake with his cell phone. When you are at the status that Nancy Grace is at, 20, 30 years in this journalism game, you rely on your producers. That is what they get paid the big bucks for. So I do not blame Nancy for this misstep. This is the fault of her producers, and there is no excuse why you should not have this letter. The same way how I had this letter, and this letter I read to you guys in detail yesterday. I won't go into detail again. I'll pin it below if you guys want to know the details. But the simple fact is that Nolan's mom and lawyers have decided that they are holding Nolan's phone for a joint forensic investigation because they do not trust law enforcement. I'll actually play a clip from the press conference that gives us more detail. But let's go now to Nancy and her misstep.
Officer Tatum, where is Nolan's phone? Do authorities have it?
Well, from my understanding, authorities do not have it, and the family have not been cooperating with authorities to give the phone over. According to the testimony or written statement from the lawyer that represents the family, the Nolan Wells family, he had made mention that he's prepared to cooperate, but they have not cooperated yet. Now, I'll add this. When you look at what Christine said.
Brandon, whoa, but you just stated that. It looks really bad for Nolan's family not to hand over the phone. Do you have any independent knowledge? They have not handed over the phone.
According to their lawyer.
Okay, shame on the producers. Now, second clip I'm going to play for you is a little bit of Nancy's own fault. Nancy is going to bring in a guest who's an expert with phones, downloads, and data and forensic analyzation of data, deleted data. And Nancy gets destroyed by her own forensic expert because Nancy says, wait a second, we don't even need Nolan's phone. We could just get all the information from the cloud. Well, Nancy, you don't even need to be a forensic expert to say, how do you even know that Nolan backed up his phone to the cloud? And even if he did, you have to know, Nancy, that the actual phone is going to have more information than the cloud.
I don't have to have the phone to know what's on the phone if it's in the cloud. It looks like an iPhone to me. So my argument with Officer Tatum is academic. It doesn't matter if I can get it from the cloud. So Nolan's phone missing. So what?
I'm going to say this real quick because people are all upset with me because I asked a question today. And I asked, how does Nancy know what type of phone that Nolan has. So my people were upset with me. This doesn't make a difference, blah, 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 blah. I've never seen a picture of Nolan Wells' phone. So I'm honestly asking, has it been released to in the public? Have we even seen a picture? She said it looks like an iPhone to her. So I don't have any knowledge of what it looks like. So that is a completely valid question. How do you know what his phone looks like? Let's keep going. I'm just noticing little things.
Download it, I can get it.
Data will exist in the cloud if he's syncing to iCloud and third-party applications. However, having physical access to the phone is where the databases exist that will have the truth on deletion. So you really need to get a full file system extraction of his phone as quickly as possible.
Do you have to have the phone to do the extraction? What about the cloud?
Cloud data is different.
After that second misstep, Nancy goes on to talk about the Godiva dogs. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And then that is where she totally gains back her traction and totally destroys Tatum. So good on Nancy for that. That's actually a really long clip, so I don't want to let you guys in on that. And it's literally, I'll just let you know where Tatum is saying, how come Benjamin Crump didn't allow the dogs the sniffing? How come they didn't analyze the boat? Nancy simply just said, excuse me, it's not Benjamin's boat. It's Wyatt's grandfather's boat. So that's just easy. That's why I don't even need to play the clip. We all know how silly former Officer Tatum is when he brings up that ridiculous point about the boat. It's not Benjamin Crump's boat. So the Cajun Navy offering the dogs to sniff the boat is totally irrelevant. That's why I don't even want to play it, because I don't even want to give former Officer Tatum any sort of, momentum with that, because it's a ridiculous point. Benjamin Crump, it's not his boat, and it's not for him to give permission for any dogs to sniff somebody else's boat. Okay, that's up to the police and the investigation. Y'all already know how I feel about the Cajun Navy. Okay, so let's move on now to the third mishap that Nancy brought upon herself, and this one I'm not going to blame the producers on. Nancy brings back the conversation with the phone, okay? And then while she's bringing back the conversation with the phone, she's saying, anyways, it's not for Nolan's parents or mom or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Why doesn't the police subpoena the phone and just get the phone from her? If it's subpoenaed, if a judge says that she has to hand it over, she'll have no choice but to hand it over. Then Officer Tatum comes back with this response. I don't agree with it, but this is his response. His response is, Nancy, maybe through their investigation and through the autopsy report, perhaps they haven't found any sort of criminal activity, which I'm sure a lot of you don't believe in, neither do I. But let's say they didn't find any criminal activity and he just drowned. They wouldn't need to subpoena and get into his phone if it was a drowning. Keyword, if. And he said, and if it was after the, then he said, if their investigation brought about some sort of criminal investigation, then it would make sense for them to go and subpoena the phone. And because we don't know the results of the investigation, we can't assume that they could just subpoena the phone. Nancy stops him and says, wait, hold on. Excuse me. Are you a doctor? Are you a pathologist? Did you run the autopsy? How do you know he drowned? And he's like, Nancy, I never said that he drowned. I said if. And then Nancy goes, do you need me to rewind the tape? You didn't say if. She didn't rewind the tape, because if she did, she would have been embarrassed. I rewound the tape for you guys, and you could see that he said if. Now, this pains me to do. Trust me, I never want to come on here and say that Brandon Tatum is right, ever. But for those of you who follow this show daily, you know me. I'm about facts, I'm about receipts, and it doesn't matter who is right or who's wrong. I'm about the facts. And Nancy, the fact is, you made a mistake and you did not hear him say if. And that we cannot fault on your producers. As much as it hurts me, as much it was, Tatum was right. Oh, I can't believe those words even came out of my mouth.
Nancy, there could be two things afoot. I'm not a part of the investigation, but I can see if they haven't gotten the phone yet, It's because they don't need the phone and they don't want the phone. It's not there of evidentiary value if there is no suspect here. If it was a drowning and there's indications of a drowning, they may not need it, Nancy, so they're not going to go get it. If they need it, they would have already had it a month ago.
Stop. Okay, Brandon Tatum, are you a medical examiner?
No, I'm not.
You keep saying it was a drowning. I have responded, are you a medical examiner? You said no. So how do you know what happened other than what you've been told? I don't know what happened. So how do
Nancy,
you know?
Nancy, I have to push back on you on this. I did not say it was a drowning. I gave you two options.
You keep saying it's a drowning. I heard you.
No, I just made mention that they may be investigating it as a drowning. The initial findings, or at least the initial report that came out.
Are you going to make mommy do a playback?
If it was a drowning and there's indications of a drowning, they may not need it, Nancy, so they're not going to go get it. If it was a drowning, and Nancy, I did not say that it was a drowning. I said that they could have investigated as a drowning or as a suspect involved.
All right, enough about former Officer Dingbat and Nancy Grace and her producers. I want to hear at least somebody get fired, at least one person suspended, at least minimum, Nancy. Let's move on now to the press conference where
I'm going to say this real quick and then we'll continue. I don't believe it was her producers. I don't. I believe that it was intentional. I see a shift, if you will, in Nancy's take on this case. It is what it is. I don't blame her producers. Something happened.
I'm going to let you know what Elmore said, Christine, Benjamin Crump, Al Sharpton, and an update on Nolan's autopsy and his independent autopsy. Things kicked off with Reverend Al Sharpton. I'm not going to play a clip. I'll just let you know quickly what happened. He took shots at Donald Trump and Donald Trump's justice system, implored people to vote in November and in 2028. He also spoke about Warren's dad allegedly suing him. And he's like, sue me for what? And actually, you know what? Bring it on, because if you sue me, that means I get to depose your son, and it gives us more information. So bring it on. Come and sue me. All right. Then Benjamin Crump came up and he reiterated, I just want to know the truth. He also said that Nolan's birthday is coming up this August the 19th, and he will be 19. We told you guys about that, and we told you guys about the visual that will be happening in Mississippi on the 19th. Then Christine, Nolan's mom, came up and she first spoke about Nolan's birthday, and she seemed very emotional. Sorry, let me make this clear. She was very emotional. And I'm highlighting the emotion because normally Christine is less emotional, or she keeps it inside, and she's more, I want to know the truth. I want to know what's going on. And she's steadfast and firm. And Elmore is the one who's a little bit more emotional. He gets choked up. Which I love, by the way. I love when a man is able to show his emotions, because we need to get out of the stigma that men can't cry or men can't be emotional. And especially when it comes to your child, you want to be emotional, be who you want to be, Elmore. I've always applauded him for that. Now, she was very emotional talking about Nolan's birthday. And a second reason why I bring that up is, like I have always said, regardless of how you feel about me, Nancy, Don Lemon, anybody, comment and send your frustrations or your opinions to us. You gotta start giving his parents some grace. You have to. You could tell from the beginning till now that it's weighing on her. It's harder, just my opinion, it seems like it's getting harder for her to stand up on these stages and talk on these mics. And I think maybe it's because his birthday is coming up and now things are starting to set in. You know, the search, where is he, whatever, you know, it wears on you at some point, and it starts to get to a point where it's like, I just want to grieve for my son, you know? And I hope she doesn't give up the fight, and I really don't think she will, but you could see that it's weighing on her. We know about the investigation, her job, the negative reviews. And like they always say, she didn't ask to be in the limelight. You know, I want to be on this YouTube channel. I want to be in front of you guys. Benjamin Crump, Al Sharpton, Don Lemon, Nancy, we chose to do this. She did not choose to do this. So give Christine grace, please. Okay. She then went on to say, we just want to know what happened to Nolan. She said another thing that, oh my gosh, it literally, like, I think I teared up a little. She said, you guys have your kids to go home to. You guys have your kids to be able to speak to at night. We do not have ours. It is sinking in. The search, the questions, the answers, and all of that stuff, it's wearing off. And the reality is sinking in that she doesn't have her son to go home to. Before this press conference, or maybe after, they did a sit-down interview, and the interviewer asked her, what was your last day with Nolan? And she spoke about Nolan making her, I think it's salmon, made her a dinner July the 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, before he went to sleeping over at his friend's house. And I think those are the things that she's starting to think about, and maybe pushing the 4th, 5th, and 6th out of her mind. Again, I'm just assuming, but it seems like the reality is sinking in that that Nolan is not coming back, and I feel so bad for her. Anyways, very, very emotional. Elmore got up and he said, again, very stern and less emotional. He said, I want to thank everybody who's been keeping Nolan's story at the forefront of the media and in the news. He's like, I really appreciate that. I have that highlighted here. So thank you to you guys clicking, commenting, hearting, putting praying hands, putting blue hearts. They see this. They see everything. And this is what they want us to do. You guys have heard me say here daily, I take my marching orders from Christine, Ben Crump, Al Sharpton. They want us keeping Nolan's name in the headlines. They want the pressure on Mississippi to do the right thing. So here is once again Elmore coming out and acknowledging us as content creators, and more importantly, you, the people viewing, taking your time, commenting, liking, sharing, hyping videos, because Elmore knows that this is, unfortunately, perhaps the only way that they will get justice for Nolan is if we keep putting pressure on them. So shout out to Elmore for that. He then went on to say that his birthday is going to be extremely hard for them, which again gives merit to what I was saying earlier, that this birthday, I think, is the catalyst for them. It's coming up, and I feel like they're feeling it internally. He also reiterated that we just want to know the truth of what happened to Nolan. So everybody is staying on message. A lot of people out there saying, oh, they're bringing race into this, they're doing this, they're coming, they're attacking, whatever. Nolan's parents have said the same thing that they've said every time they speak. We just want to know what happened to our son. And they say, you would want to know the same thing. So give them grace and put yourself in their shoes. Okay, now, it went on to a question period. One of the first questions somebody asked Ben Crump is, what are his thoughts on social media content creators and some people putting out misinformation? Here's what he said.
Ezekiel Telemacher with ABC24. There's been a lot of misinformation and rumors spreading on social media. I think that you guys would like to debunk that. You've seen that has been out there.
Let me just say this. I released a statement, and I want to be clear about it. We defend the First Amendment rights of content creators reporting on Nolan Wells' case. We stand with content creators, independent journalists, and citizens who are responsibly reporting on the Nolan Wells case and asking legitimate questions in pursuit of truth and accountability. The First Amendment protects robust public discussion on matters of public concern, and those protections are not reserved just for traditional media. We are deeply concerned when cease and desist letters, threatened lawsuits, or other legal pressure become tools to intimidate or silence lawful scrutiny. There is an important difference between knowingly spreading false information and asking questions.
The second question was, can you give us an update on what's been going on with the Mississippi DA? Somebody came out and said, listen, we met with them at July 15th. As you guys know, we had a small press conference after. We covered that here on this channel. And she went on to say, listen, we spoke with them on the 15th. We spoke about a lot of things. We made a lot of agreements, and we are just expecting for those agreements to be fulfilled. Then another journalist asked, has the DA given you guys an update on the joint investigation on Nolan Xavier Wells' cell phone? I'm going to play a clip. Somebody send this to Nancy's producer so she's aware of this to correct herself on her next show. You're going to hear two lawyers answer. One of them says, hey, we're willing to meet at any time. We want to do it jointly. And he even made a joke. He said, actually, I'm not doing anything for the rest of the day. I'm ready to come to you now. And like I went and spoke with you guys about yesterday, these lawyers and these letters and Nolan's parents are not going to say what I'm saying here. They don't trust you. They're going to, say that in a bunch of legal terms. We do not trust you. We're not giving you Nolan's phone for you to do whatever you want because we don't trust you. It's really plain and simple. And nobody can tell Nolan's mom what she should do or what she shouldn't do with her child's phone. And if she does not feel like she trusts them, we should back her. She's saying that for a reason. That's her instinct. and I'm going to trust her instincts as a mother. And the lawyers reiterated that. And another lawyer reiterated and says, it should be done one time. She gave the example of a car accident. It should be done one time, jointly, together.
Has the DA said anything, and he's given any guidance on a joint investigation of the cell phone?
We have procedures that the courts require that we as lawyers ethically have to follow in order to turn over evidence. There's chains of custody. There's protected private information. And we are willing, in fact, today, I'm not doing anything the rest of the day, to meet with the FBI and our person, our expert, to go over that phone. And we've made that clear. So we're ready to do that at any moment.
Just to clarify, what the agreement was that the DA's office, and this is the Jackson County DA's office, as well as our forensic team, and possibly the FBI, were going to together download and examine the phone. So it's done one time with everybody together, right? This is very common in the law. This is what is supposed to happen. We are waiting for the DA to determine the time, the place, the date. Let us know, and we are going to be there with our forensics team and anybody else, but it's done one time, one examination. We're ready for it to happen.
And one of the last questions of the day.
Okay. Well, we can let him read the last question.
Was somebody asked about the independent autopsy. And we have covered that a bunch of times here on this channel. And I ask you guys, I don't know, 2-3 times a week, where is Nolan's throat? Please reiterate that in the comment section, because they're watching and they look at the comment section. You're going to hear one of the lawyers say that Dr. Roger Mitchell is ready and willing. It's up to the DA to give access to our independent doctor to finish his independent autopsy report. So where's Nolan's neck? So where is Nolan's neck? So where is Nolan's neck? And why can't Dr. Roger Mitchell have access to look at it? Why? And let's say you're okay. We're doing this. We're looking. Tell him where it is so he can go. He is willing to join you wherever you are to do the work. And then you act funny like this. It's been since July the 15th that he's waiting. And then you guys want to come and say, how come you guys are online making videos, social media, scrutinizing us? Because you won't let our independent doctor, who is one of the most renowned autopsy doctors in the world, one of the best in the United States, and you won't let him come and see Nolan's throat. What are you hiding? And this is why we're going to continue putting pressure and why we're going to continue asking, where is Nolan's throat?
And I'd ask about the independent autopsy.
We understand that Dr. Roger Mitchell is made himself available at any point that the district attorney's office and the medical examiner will allow him to come. He's ready, willing, and able to go do it.
That's all I have for you folks. Like, it's not a hard question.
Okay. All right. So that's that. We can now stop the misinformation about them not turning over the phone. They never agreed to turn over the phone. They agreed to a joint forensic examination. So that's that. So what we're going to do now is I want to watch the interview that they did the day before yesterday. Christine and Elmore is going to explain the day that they found out Nolan was missing and the day before, I believe. So let's get into that. It's very emotional. Like he said, it's getting harder and harder and harder for them to actually get through this, and the smear campaign is not helping the situation. It's making it worse. So let's get into it. Stop.
And this is another thing that
so Nolan is and was an incredible soul. He was the person who, no matter where you were in life, what was going on, he was going to be your biggest cheerleader. And I can attest to that because after COVID, my sister was like, oh, you should do social media. And I'm like, I don't want to do social media. I like to just watch others. And then Nolan was like, no, Mom, you should do it. I'll help you with the videos. I got you. And, just anytime I was like, oh, I just really don't want to do this anymore. Nolan was like, no, Mama, you hadn't posted today. And I'm like, I don't want to post. I'm tired.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's the kind of person he was. He was God-fearing, God-loving. That boy had faith beyond measure. He was just a bright light. And he was our bright light. As far as that day goes, went to work, and he was making salmon. So he was FaceTiming me as I'm trying to see patients kind of in between, of course, not answering the phone in the room. And he's like, hey, Mama, how does this look? Is this enough season? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? And I was like, okay. I was like, you know, you don't have to do that. And he's like, no, you know, I'm going to take care of it. I was like, okay, sure. And so he finishes cooking, get home. He's like, yeah, what you know about this? And he was, guys, when I tell you, he loved to joke. Like, he was just one of those people. He wanted everyone around him to smile, be happy, feel comfortable and accepted. And that is the kind of person God made him. You know, us as parents, we definitely had that influence, but Nolan was just naturally a peacemaker.
Yeah.
And so yeah, after that, it was, you know, 8, and then he got ready to go. He did his normal, hugged us up. I love you, Mom. I was like, you know, be safe, knowing this was going to be his last weekend before going back to school, because football was starting, the summer training was starting. And this was his second year at Southwest. And so we knew this was going to be a big year for him. Dad and him had been training and doing all these things, and really just kind of sitting with him and letting him know, like, hey, you know, we're going to the next stage in your life as well as, you know, your football career. So the focus was there, and he was ready.
So he leaves that day.
He leaves that day with, he drives his car, and he told us kind of a general, like, hey, you know, we're going to go to the island. Like, we knew that, staying at Jack's house. And Jax was a friend I think we've met in passing before. And that's the thing, you know, I always say there's a difference in meeting someone, knowing of someone, and then knowing someone. Knowing implies that we've sat down, we've had discussions about your hopes, your dreams, you know, knowing you, okay, hey, he stayed the night at my house, which Wyatt, one of his friends, he had stayed at our house a couple of times. And then Jax, again, that was one I just maybe saw in passing a few times. There was only a handful of young men that we actually knew, like, he grew up with. And when I say grew up, I'm saying from like first grade, they've known each other all through high school now that they're graduated. And that would be like Jalen and Javon, LeBaron. Those are kids that we knew. So it's been hard seeing all this kind of play out.
Yeah.
And, you know, these are people that he considered friends.
Yes. Dad, I want to ask you, because it was Warren Hudson, one of the people that he traveled with, who called to alert you all that Nolan was missing.
Yes.
So we know at 5:44, the boat returns, Nolan is not there. At 11 p.m., he calls to say Nolan is missing. I wonder if either of you, whoever wants to answer, what happened in those few hours that prompted Warren to be concerned?
I'm not quite sure what would prompt him to be concerned, but all I can say is what I did that day. So me and my sister, we made an order of pancit, which is a Filipino noodle dish for one of our friends. They were having a big family get together, and we really didn't have anything planned for the 4th. So me and my sister are, you know, cleaning up, and this is about 8. And she's like, hey, you know, Nolan hasn't texted us. Like, and that was the thing. Nolan was really big with communication with us, right? And so I call him, doesn't answer. I end the call, call back. And this is probably, I think, maybe around 8. Don't quote me on the times, guys. So then I call again later around 8. Still no answer. And then I want to say I called one more time, and I think that was at like 10:48. So I'm in the kitchen, my phone rings. Now this is probably like early 11 o'clock, somewhere around there. Phone rings when I make it back to the phone, and I'm like,
whose number is this? Because, you know, we get weird phone calls sometimes. They didn't leave a message. Number pops back up. I pick up the phone because it says maybe Warren. And I'm like, Warren? So this is 11:07. That's per my cell phone records. So I answered the phone. And he's like, hey, Miss Christine, have you seen or talked to Nolan? I said, no. Why? He should be with you guys. And he said,
Moderators, I need you to ban any and everybody that is in here disparaging the name of Christine Wansley and Elmore Wansley. That will not happen on this platform. Ban them immediately. Thank you.
oh no, well, you know, when we went to the island, there was a girl named Katie that he met and he had decided to stay behind. I said, what? Because we know our child. And Nolan isn't one to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to throw caution to the wind and I'm going to stay here with this girl that I just met. So I'm on the phone with him. Now I'm in a panic. I'm running into my room. Elmore was in bed watching a different movie. And I'm like frantic. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, Nolan is missing. I'm trying to pull up the GPS as I'm talking to him. And at some point, he tells me that I was like, well, you know, his phone says GPS Life 360, not Snapchat.
Right.
Life 360 says that he's on land. And he was like, well, no, I mean, you know, well, we have his phone. And I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, okay. Because at that point, you're telling me, this is coming from Warren, don't worry about it. We're going to find him. It's going to be okay. Don't tell me not to worry. This is my child, my flesh and blood that I brought into this world. And you're telling me not to worry. Absolutely not. So then it was after the phone call ended, of course, asking him for information. What was he wearing? He was like, last seen, Northwest tip, black shorts, sunglasses. That's important. So I end up calling DMR, spoke with the DMR. She took all
Just
the
for our audience, DMR.
So DMR is because he went missing on the island. They are basically the marine people, right? They're the ones who's going to launch the boats to go into the water and all that. But before getting off the phone with Warren, he was like, hey, I know some people at Coast Guard. I said, okay. He's like, I'm gonna call Coast Guard, you call DMR. Get on the phone with DMR. I give the young lady the information and she tells me, hey, you know, I got this. Let me call you back. Cause she was like, I'm not sure if this is gonna be in our jurisdiction, essentially. So then she calls back and she tells me, okay, yeah, you know, we spoke with Coast Guard. And I'm like, okay, but they're like, this isn't our jurisdiction. You have to contact the city of Ocean Springs. I said, okay, hang up the phone, call in Ocean Springs Police Department. They say, hey, you have to physically come down and give a report. I said, okay. So on our way, because we don't live that far from the police station, on our way there, I was like, well, let me stop by the hospital because there's a hospital that's maybe 5 minutes up the road from our house. Stop by there. I'm like, hey, have you guys seen this kid? Has he been brought in? The lady's like, no, ma'am. You know, we hadn't. I said, okay, thank you. Run out. We go to the police department, get to the police station. And the officer basically says, again, this is out of our jurisdiction. And at that point, I'm like, my God, who am I supposed to talk to? Who is supposed to help me with this? So then he said, it's going to be, you would have to call DMR. I was like, we've already called DMR. DMR said it's not in their jurisdiction. So we end up, I think at some point I had called Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Yeah. So she calls back and she's like, hey, are you there? I said, yes, we're here. But he's telling us the same thing you guys told us, which is no, we can't take it. She gets on the phone with a police officer. Now this is Jackson County Sheriff's Department speaking with the Ocean Springs Police Department. Ocean Springs Police Department is saying, this is why we can't take this information. She says, okay. He gives me the phone back and she's like, okay, I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to take the information. And that was, we met an officer. It was after midnight. right?
Yeah,
It was somewhere after midnight. Met him in the McDonald's parking lot, gave him the information. He was just like, okay, thanks. That I was like, where is the urgency? And so, as far as we know, there were no boats on the water that night. We actually, his high school football coach, Coach Bramlett, texted Elmore that morning. He said, hey man, I got a boat. Because again, we don't have boats. Let me make that very clear. We do not have a boat. We're not boating people. We don't do water like that. Okay. So Coach Bramlett's like, hey, I got a boat. So we was like, great, let's go. We're on the water. We go out there. We walk the island. Cell phone works perfectly fine. I actually had almost an entire conversation with my grandmother who was in a panic as we're walking this island looking for anything.
I just want to pause there. The cell phone worked fine because in the reporting, there's been so much reporting that there's poor cell phone reception. And this is some of the disputes that we have about that night. Dad, feel free to jump in here because they're saying he met this young lady, Katie, and that he stayed back. According to the reporting, Katie is saying no. He said he was going to go with his friends. According to the reporting, the friends say, no, he left us his phone because there was no reception. Dad, have you found any consistencies? Have you spoken directly with any of his friends?
Well, the first inconsistency was you called me and tell me my son stayed on the island to talk to a girl. My son would never do that. That's not in his character. I didn't raise none of my kids to do that. The second thing is you say he doesn't have his phone. He doesn't leave his phone. I will wake up sometimes in the morning and Nolan will have his phone here right in my face. And I'm waking up cussing and fussing like, boy, you don't get the camera on my face. And he just laughing and giggling and stuff like that. So that's twice. To me, there's two lies that he told me as a father. Like I said, we went on the island. And actually a classmate of mine called me that morning as we were going out to the island with Nolan's coach. He's like 40 miles away. He calls me, hey man, I got the boat. Me and my boys, we're gonna go out there and help you look. I didn't call him, he called me. And we're gonna start on this end. I said, well, we're probably gonna start on the other end. So me, my wife, Coach Bramlett, and a high school classmate of mine were the only, we were the first ones out there looking. Like I said, we docked the boat, got out the boat, walked on the island. She had a whole conversation with her grandmother on the island, got back on the boat, went back around the island. I guess that would be the north side, facing the Gulf of Mexico. I get another phone call. So my phone worked fine. So this whole thing about not having phone service, I don't know. I don't know if it's the carrier or what, but ours worked fine. I think those around maybe 8 o'clock.
Yeah, because we finished up around.
Who was it? Jackson County or the
Jackson County Sheriff
finally showed up.
Yeah,
a couple of boats. They finally showed up. By that time, I was like, he's not out here. I was more focused that he was at someone's house.
That was
that's where my hopes and feelings were. So we left. The county stayed out there. My friend, he stayed out there because he called. He was like, well, we're gonna stay out here a little bit longer. I said, okay, I appreciate it. So we leave. Then I would say maybe a couple hours later, my friend calls me back. And he said, well, we're going to give it and go. But he said, look, I can gas the boat back up. And if you want to go back out there, we can go back out there. I said, I don't want to go back out to the island. I have a feeling that he's not there. And I don't want to go back to the island. So he said, he said, well, if you do, we can go right now. I said, don't worry about it. I appreciate you coming out there. But he said at that time that helicopters were out there, more Coast Guard, more people were out there. So we get back on land. And as far as the keys, what was that night? Or was it?
That was that night.
That
but it
was the night
like
the call. Okay, let me back up.
early.
As far as getting the car back, after we gave our report to Jackson County, the sheriff department that night, we were trying to figure out who to get a report to. We had a friend in the family that located his phone. We wasn't there to get the phone, but apparently there was some kind of friction with getting his phone.
Yeah.
We don't
and it
know
was
what the friction
so
was.
the phone and the key were at the same location, which was Jack's house.
Okay.
And again, all of these kids share their locations on Snapchat. And so she was like, hey, I can go pick his phone up, not thinking that his car is there, you know, which she stopped everything she was doing. Her and the boys, they went out. Like, we were all out searching for him that night. And yeah, like Elmore was saying, there was an issue, some type of friction. The cops ended up coming and they left. And so then kind of the same thing when we came to pick up the key, Elmore went up there asking for the key, didn't know where the key was. And all of a sudden we know where the key is.
But see, hold on. But see, this and this is another thing that bothered me too. When we got to the house, you know, it was some of his other friends were there, you know, and they were, you know, beating on the door like, what Nolan there, what Nolan there, you know, beating on the door trying to get in the house. So I walk up to the door and I'm calming them down because for one, okay, you're loud. Two, you're in these people's house. So if you tear these people's house up, this could be a whole nother issue. I don't want y'all bothering it. And three, I need you guys to calm down. And I need them to kind of trust me as being an adult so I can get something out of them. So I get them out the house. And then Jax finally comes down the stairs, I guess in the room. Hair all messed up like he just woke up, whatever. I said, look, I'm Nolan's father. His car's outside. I need to get his car and all his personal effects that may be left over here. And he goes, oh man, Nolan was like my brother. I said, Nolan was like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go and get everything of his so I can get his car, I can go home. So he walks off. 2 or 3 minutes later, he come back. I don't see the keys. Okay. So I leave out the house, go back outside, stand by the car. During that time, one of the guys that was in the house, one of the other friends, he was on the phone with a girl who was apparently there with them earlier that day. And she was telling him that his keys was on top of the Xbox in his room. So he goes back up to the door by himself and we're still out by the car. And lo and behold, here comes the keys. So now to me, you lied to me 3 times. I don't believe nothing that you tell me from here on out.
And this is Jax.
This is Jax.
And eventually he does give you the keys.
Yeah, eventually give me
But there was friction getting the keys.
Yes. So from when you tell me my son is on left still on the island with a girl, 2, you have his phone, and 3, you don't give me the keys when I ask. I don't know any father who would believe just if one of my friends did that. I'm gonna be cordial with you, but I'm gonna watch you. And I just
Ben, I want to ask you, because I'm hearing these 2 parents who essentially had to become search and rescue or law enforcement, looking for their own child with such a lack of urgency on behalf of law enforcement. Obviously, we're talking to Black journalists. We can't ignore the ugly racial history of Mississippi. I looked into the demographics of the Jackson County Sheriff Department. It's quite asymmetrical, but also just the general attitude and the lack of value when it comes to Black life. Does this sound like a normal process for when an 18-year-old goes missing to you? What holes have you seen in your looking into this case?
Tiffany, that was the question that Christine and Elmore had when they first called us. They wanted the truth of what happened to their 18-year-old son, Nolan Wells. And they had concerns whether they were going to get a fair and impartial investigation. And from that day to this one, it has been the same objective: to have truth, transparency, and find out what happened to Nolan. They said, we want a thorough investigation, because when they found Nolan, they expressed to me that the sheriff had already said no foul play. And they was like, no, my son, he knows how to swim. Our son is a college athlete. Our son is in great shape. We don't believe that he just drowned and nobody knows nothing. Nobody saw nothing. I mean, there are about 300, 400 people on the island. And so that's what they were saying. We want to know what happened. We want truth. We want transparency. We don't want his death to be swept under the rug.
Well, just so to make sure the audience and the people watching at home know, so they did declare very quickly, as you're noting, that he drowned when his body was recovered on July 6th. Mom and dad and you all know that he is a student athlete, able to swim. On July 4th on Horn Island, it was very crowded. Certainly the suggestion is someone would have seen a child in distress. There is going to be the convening of a grand jury. Now, the DA of this area, Angel Myers McElrath, is a very out loud, proud Republican. If there is a U.S. attorney appointed to this case, it will likely be a Trump appointee. I'm just curious, Ben, from you and Rev, I think we have to be very candid here. What concerns do you have about the racial animus that we are seeing so much of play in this case?
Well,
you or Rev, whoever.
All I'll say, and then defer to Rev, you want to believe that this is a child, that everybody is going to do their level best to find out what happened, so these broken-hearted parents will know what happened to their child. In time, we've seen Christine and the family be attacked just for asking questions. What happened to my child? Trying to say, no, we want to question this part of the investigation, that part of the investigation, because day one you said no foul play, but tell me now, what are you doing to be able to get us to the truth? And that is, it causes them sleepless nights. We talk at night. And so trust, but verify. We are trying to cooperate everything we can do to say, hey, we want to help, but we want you to give them a thorough investigation. We want you to do for him what you would do for your child.
Rev, I'm going to come to you in a sec, but you brought up something, Ben, about attacks. And certainly as journalists, we have a keen eye, and I have noticed that the narrative around this story has shifted to the threats that are going to the young men who was with Nolan. They've hired attorneys who previously represented Donald Trump in cases. They've gone on very MAGA-friendly podcasts. And I just want to make sure that we keep the main thing, the narrative to the victim, to the actual child who died. And I'm curious, Christine, if you can weigh in on what threats have you and your family experienced?
So there have been a big smear campaign, just not only professionally, but personally for me. And
they attacked your nursing license.
Yes. So it started out with 1-star reviews of people saying they saw me. My office verified that these were incorrect. And then it went so much as to someone contacted the Board of Nursing. And then that opened the investigation for the professional misconduct. There was no evidence presented for that claim. And the investigator I spoke with, he said, we have to do our due diligence. I said, I understand it. I respect it. He was like, I'm sorry it's coming at this time. I was like, no, I get it. Do what you have to do, because I know who I am. I know what kind of care I give to my patients. I know the relationship that we have. And I'm grateful that my patients, a lot of them are still trusting and loving in the care that they know they're going to get with me. And so these attacks are not going to it's not going to break me. I have to find out. We have to find out what happened to Nolan. That is the only question we've ever asked. We've never blamed anyone. We've never tried to smear anyone. I know I heard something about the picture. That picture was sent to me because
this is a picture of him on the boat.
On the boat with people.
Yes.
And what it was is they were like, the person was like, Miss Christine, the information is incorrect. This is what he was wearing. Because initially he was in black shorts, which again, that is the information I received from Warren verbally and via text. When she sent me that picture, I was like, oh, completely different color. These are like a blue-gray short. So we had to correct that. But I'm grateful. We are grateful to all of you. Thank you for keeping our son's story alive. And thank you so much, Tiffany, for having us.
I think that's part of our assignment here, our responsibility. So often in newsrooms, we have to defend and define Black life and defend and define our own humanity. And so it makes a difference. The same way in other newsrooms, when you see someone and you feel like they're familiar, that so happens as they resegregate newsrooms and lay off Black journalists en masse, that goes away. So the people in this room have a keen interest in this story because they see your humanity. And that's what we center in this conversation. Rev, put this in historical context for us, because as I look at Mississippi, I don't have to tell you of all people some of the immediate thoughts that surface for us here.
Well, when I got the call from Ben Crump and he had the parents connected and they told me the story, I'd not heard the story. I heard something about some in Mississippi. But when I heard the details, the thing that jarred me from a civil rights point of view, and I've been working, Ben has come National Action Network for 20 some years on a case, and then from there on and on and on. And if it's not a civil rights position, we don't get involved. When they told me that law enforcement said there is no foul play, that's a prejudgment. And I said, wait a minute. They said, the parents repeated to me on the phone, I said, they said it was, this 2 days after it happened. And how do you investigate and there's no foul play and you don't even know what happened yet? So that's what perked my interest. So I said that, well, we'll be involved and we'll help to the best of our ability. Talked another day or two. I said, y'all come to New York, we'll have a national press conference. That's how we broke the story. The first national press conference they did at our headquarters, National Action Network. And then all of a sudden, it was all of this attack for getting involved. And they asked me to do the eulogy. I said, we'll take care of the funeral. Tyler Perry called me and said, no, I'll take care of it. So the thing that bothered me, one, it was prejudgment. Second, the parents of the guys that were with him start talking about they was going to sue us for getting involved. And sue, I don't even know the kid's name. So you can't say I defame your son. I don't know your son's name. But I will say this on this stage, I want them to sue me first. And I'll tell you why. No, I'll tell you why. And National Action Network, you serve the papers, because I want to depose your son. If you sue, the plaintiffs are deposed. So rather than us depend on a Mississippi DA who's already had people saying it was no foul, let's go to civil court, any kind of court you want to go to, because you can't make this make sense. And direct to your point, Tiffany, as I said in the eulogy that I did, I don't know what happened. The parents never said they knew what happened. They never said it was racial. I don't know it was racist. But they don't know it wasn't racist. You don't know what happened. So why are you prejudging it unless something is there you don't want out? Second thing is, and I said this to Elmer and Kristen, I had hurt my knee. I had torn my meniscus. And when I tore it, I told Ben the truth. I did it working out one morning, but I told them I got it because I was on my knees praying too much. But anyway, when they took me to say they may have to do surgery, the first thing they said is, well, we got to get your medical history from your primary doctor. I said, okay. So I said in the eulogy that I don't know what happened, but I got your history in Mississippi. And the history tells me black boy go out with 3 white kids come back. There's a blurred story on what happened. Now y'all all hostile and all upset. Didn't have the keys, but then you had the keys. Some about this don't make sense given your history. And I'm gonna stay on this until we find out what happened. It may be nothing, but we're not gonna leave that up to chance with people that are distorted. We gonna stay on this case. And lastly, since they want to talk about lawsuits, one of the things tying your morning together, Tiffany, they may come back, as you suggested, playing right-wing politics with this, with the local prosecutor, maybe even with the federal people. But if we have a change in January and there is a Democratic House, I said that if Hakeem becomes the speaker, he needs to have the chair of judiciary subpoena them to the Judiciary Department, testify. No, that's what this vote means. We need to have a check and balance of government so that we got somewhere to go. We can't depend to go to Trump's Justice Department. So we need to really mobilize so people like these 2 parents can protect their children.
All right, guys. I agree 100%.
I call him.
Hold on a second.
Doesn't answer. I end the call.
I agree 100% of what they just said, but I wanted to bring your attention to something that Christine said about Warren. I'm going to play this. I want you to listen very carefully when she spoke with Warren. And then we'll move on, guys. We're almost done.
To be concerned, but all I can say is what I did that day. So me and my sister, we made an order of pancit, which is a Filipino noodle dish for plan for the 4th. It's like, hey, no one has with us, right? I end the call back, and this is probably, I think, maybe around 8. Don't quote me on the times, guys. So then I call again later around 8, still no answer. And then I want to say I called one more time, and I think that was at like 10:48. So I'm in the kitchen, my phone rings. Now this is probably like early 11 o'clock, somewhere around there. Phone rings when I make it back to the phone, and I'm like, whose number is this? Because, we get weird phone calls sometimes. They didn't leave a message. Number pops back up. I pick up the phone because it says maybe Warren. And I'm like, Warren? So this is 11:07. That's per my cell phone records. So I answered the phone. He's like, hey, Miss Christine, have you seen or talked to Nolan? I said, no. Why? He should be with you guys. And he said, oh, no, well, when we went to the island, there was a girl named Katie that he met, and he had decided to stay behind. And I said, what? Because we know our child. And Nolan isn't one to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to throw caution to the wind and I'm going to stay here with this girl that I just met. So I'm on the phone with him. Now I'm in a panic. I'm running into my room. Elmore was in bed watching a different movie. And I'm like frantic. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, Nolan is missing. I'm trying to pull up the GPS as I'm talking to him. And at some point, he tells me that, I was like, well, his phone says GPS Life 360, not Snapchat.
Right.
Life 360 says that he's on land. And he was like, well, no, we have his phone. And I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, okay. Because at that point, you're telling me, this is coming from Warren, don't worry about it. We're going to find him. It's going to be okay. Don't tell me not to worry. This is my child, my flesh and blood that I brought into this world. And you're telling me not to worry. Absolutely not. So then it was after the phone call ended, of course, asking him for information. What was he wearing? He was like, last seen, Northwest tip, black shorts, sunglasses.
That's important. So I end up calling DMR, spoke with the DMR. She took all
Just
the...
for our audience, DMR.
So DMR is because he went missing on the island. They are basically the marine people, right? They're the ones who's going to launch the boats to go into the water and all that. But before getting off the phone with Warren, he was like, hey, I know some people at Coast Guard.
Right there.
I said, okay. He's like, I'm gonna call Coast Guard.
Right there. Warren said, I know some people at Coast Guard. So basically, he's calling his buddies. Right? He's calling, allegedly, people that he knows at Coast Guard. Why? Why didn't you just call Coast Guard? What did they do? Allegedly, to assist in the possible alleged cover-up of what happened to Nolan Wells. That don't sit right with me. And guys, let me say this. I'm asking everybody to spell your curse words wrong. And I am trying to get to the racist comments. I'm for my people. I'm not even gonna lie. This is a pro-black channel. But I'm trying to host as well as moderate. And sometimes mistakes are made. So please do not hold it against us. If you get timed out or something, just make your comments a little clear and follow the rules. That's all. But why did Warren call his buddies at the Coast Guard? None of this is making sense to me. They're all well connected, allegedly. And it's diabolical. Yeah, for my people. And when I say I'm for my people, it's for anybody, no matter your color, creed, or race, that wants justice for injustices, if that makes sense. I don't like racists. I hate racist people. And I don't even know why you're here when you know that this show is about Nolan Wells. It's in the title. So why show up? Because you got that Austin Metcalf syndrome. Let me explain that to you. Austin Metcalf was a bully. So was Hunter. So you're on this channel bullying people. You don't have to be here. You can pick and choose where you want to go. But see, y'all got this entitlement. And you're going to fuck around and find out. Just like Austin Metcalf did. Free Carmelo. And I said what I said. But let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. Warren said, I know some people at the Coast Guard. Called his buddies. Does that make sense to you, any of you? Everything that's happening, the scare tactics, the intimidation, PR campaign that's going around, the interviews, the mocking and attacking of Christine and Elmore Wansley, calling Elmore Nolan's stepdad, that is his dad. Trying to get her license revoked, putting bad reviews up, lying, talking about she won't turn over the phone. And I'm just going to flat out say this next part. Nancy Grace is not really for us. And I said what I said. But I am going to encourage you to continue to watch, because this is who they selected to feed us the information that we're getting. Take each and every statement and tear it apart is what I'm asking you, Truth Gang. Continue to watch. I don't like Brandon Tatum tap dancing ass. But watch the interviews. Take notes. That's the only way we're going to catch them. I was done when those trolls began to flood social media, trolling us, and Janetta Brantley. That's why Nancy Grace took your video down. That's why Nancy Grace removed your interview. And first, I'm like, no, she didn't. It's there. Until I went to do my research. It's not there no more. And my question is to Nancy Grace. Why would you remove our good sister's interview? We already know. The CETO call is the smoking gun. We heard what we heard. Right? I'm tired, y'all, but we can't let up. We can't let up. Pay attention is all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking of you guys. Just pay attention. Do not fall for it. We can't fall for it. All right. So I got one more clip I'm going to play. Maybe two. And then we're going to end for today. We can meet up tomorrow night. Okay? Let's get to it. Let me get to the clip. And even though I literally can't stand Brendan Tatum. I literally can't fathom or even stomach the tap dancing he's doing on this stage in front of the world. But we got to listen. We got to listen. Because they playing in our face. Keep sharing the CETO call. Keep talking about the CETO call. Keep lifting up our good sister Janetta Brantley. All right. Let's play.
That conversation from the sweetened audio where there's one voice calling CETO, I have an account, we've got a little problem. Kid doesn't sound panicked. Is very pro forma, saying he has an account because they charge you different things if you have an account or if you don't. And then there is a background conversation which sounds terrible. Sounds like there's blaming and about Nolan waking up, and Nolan may well be there by the nature of this conversation.
CETO assistant, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the work coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
What is your position on the veracity of that sweetened audio?
So let me address a few things that you said there, and then I certainly will address the audio. There were more than 20 people between those two boats that witnessed what happened between those two boats that were on those vessels. There are, in fact, pictures of who was on those vessels and video of who was on those vessels. There were also a lot of people that were in the water. Like when we're talking about the aid that my client provided to the distressed vessel, it wasn't way out in the water. It literally was while they were still anchored next to Horn Island. So
Understood.
you're talking about dozens of people that saw what happened there.
Understood, which makes sense because an experienced boater, which these kids are, they go to the island all the time, they fish all the time, they're around boats. You don't take off if you're taking on water. You try to figure out what it is and what to do about it before you leave. I mean, I've been in exactly that position. It makes sense that it would have happened while they were still stationed.
So, and so let's also, as we talk about the audio, acknowledge what you said about why investigations stay quiet the way that they do. Because I actually think the audio is a great example of why investigations stay quiet. You know, that audio gets released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, a version of it. It's not clear that that was the original audio. And then people take it and try and pick it apart. So you have mentioned enhanced audio and different things that people have heard. It's worth noting that there's been more than one source of quote unquote enhanced audio. that audio appears in different lengths, that different forensic experts have said that there are quote unquote artifacts that were added to the enhanced audio, that music was removed from the enhanced audio. And so all of those things should create a degree of skepticism.
So what that the music was removed from the enhanced audio? Have you ever heard of stems? Stems are created to remove each sound bite so you can hear what you need to hear. All of this is an illusion and a deflection from what we know is a smoking gun. Damn it, Bart. Is he dead? Check his chest. No, don't die. Oh my God. We ain't gonna forget that, sir. Y'all can try to explain it away. You can allegedly pay Nancy Grace to delete it away. You can try to gaslight us. It's not going nowhere. We're not having it this time. And sue me if you want to. I don't got nothing for you anyway.
The other thing that I would say is that if you listen to even the enhanced audio, and News Nation had a guy on recently, Robert Freed, who talked about this, who is an audio expert. You know, if you listen to it without the transcript that some people have put on top of it, even the enhanced audio is garbled mess. And so what I would say is, you probably are aware of this. There's all sorts of scientific research on this about the way the human brain processes and offers preference to certain types of input. There's a visual input preference over an auditory input preference. There was a famous experiment done around this, Chris, where two groups of people were put into separate rooms with a noise that didn't say anything. And they were told, one group was said that the noise was the word green needle or words green needle, and the other was told that it was the word brainstorm. And they got put back together, and they both swore vehemently that they had heard either green needle or brainstorm because they had that visual cue. So I think there's a reason that reputable outlets have chosen not to run enhanced audio, because if you're a reputable outlet, you try to figure out who put this together.
So this is why Nancy Grace. I didn't know that. He's explaining why Nancy Grace removed Janetta Brantley's interview in the CETO call. Listen to him carefully. I'm going to rewind it again. Reputable, whatever he just said. Yeah, we see it now, Nancy.
Said that the noise was the word green needle or words green needle, and the other was told that it was the word brainstorm. Ooh. And they got put back together, and they both swore vehemently that they had heard either green needle or brainstorm because they had that visual cue. So I think there's a reason that reputable outlets have chosen not to run enhanced audio, because if you're a reputable outlet, you try to figure out who put this together. Did they start with the original so that we know it wasn't corrupted from the beginning? Is there evidence of corruption that we can detect? Are the links the same? Does that person have bias? These are the questions you'd want to know before you put something in front of people with a written transcript that tells them what they should be hearing and then allow it to mislead people. We put zero stock in enhanced audio, quote unquote, enhanced audio. And I think that there's a reason that reputable outlets, and candidly, a lot of reputable audio experts, are saying that people shouldn't either.
Now, just like everything else, sometimes it's good, sometimes it isn't. I've seen multiple versions. The one that is getting the most traction is a Black female who seems to be well-versed in audio editing. And she goes into great detail of what she did. And then it has this background conversation. I have used sweetened audio or audio sweeteners, not just for simple editing purposes here, because obviously my voice is near perfect, but in making things clearer in audio. For example, there is an infamous/famous recording of one-time Trump attorney/bagman/confidant Michael Cohen having a conversation with then citizen Donald Trump about certain payments to certain women. And we used audio sweetening to bring out the voices. It can be done. It can be done forensically. It can be done well. Here is the good news. It doesn't matter about anything that I'm saying, or frankly, counsel is saying up until this point. Does your client say he was part of a conversation on that boat about what was done to Nolan Wells and what kind of situation Nolan Wells was in?
No, I mean, we have been vehement that Nolan Wells was never on my client's boat, that my client never saw Nolan Wells on anybody else's boat, that my client has no idea the circumstances that led to Nolan Wells' death, that he did not cause or contribute to the circumstances that led to Nolan Wells' death. And look, the family has also been very clear that they understand the tremendous grief that Nolan Wells' parents are experiencing, that the Ocean Springs community is experiencing, candidly, that his friends are experiencing. And they understand the demand for answers. They understand why this process has to be done thoroughly, why investigators have to turn over every rock. And to that end, I would just tell you that certainly in the case of my client, and certainly in the case of some of these other young men, based on conversations that I've had, they cooperated fully with authorities from the very beginning of this process. I think the only thing that my client and others have asked for is not to arrive at a verdict in a way that is pre-drawn, but instead to wait on facts and evidence before you convict someone in a court of public opinion, because the consequence of that is that you're ruining people's reputations. The consequence of that is that you're subjecting people to actual physical threats and violence. And that's not the way that our system should work.
Has it slowed down? How is your client handling it?
I would tell you that, he's a 21-year-old, kid's the wrong word, because I know that's a grown man, but you can remember being 21.
He is a physically grown man. He is not an emotionally or cognitively grown man. I've got one at home. In fact, I've got two at home, one male, one female in that age range. I see them as children within the eyes of the law, obviously adults.
Right. And I'm not suggesting that's not true, but I am suggesting that you and I both remember what it was like to be 21. And this is devastating. Now, I will say to his credit, I think this would be devastating to somebody that's 45 or 60 to have these kind of accusations being bandied about without evidence. To his credit, he is an incredibly mature, candidly wise young man.
Well, this kind of situation makes you grow up fast. You guys know I'm always looking for simple things that can help me stay on top of my game, especially when it comes to hydration. And this is a good one. LTV. Okay. It's not just another electrolyte powder. LTV combined for that zero cal. LTV is within the that winds up.com is drink L-Colloquy. You just stated there were multiple witnesses to attest to this one way or the other. Your client was not on a boat with Nolan Wells. He knew Nolan Wells. He was not with him. When your client got on the boat to help, Nolan Wells was not there. True?
That's correct.
Your client was not present when anything happened to Nolan Wells. Is that true?
Yes.
Your client was never part of a conversation where other people were panicked about what had happened to Nolan Wells.
That's correct.
And no one saw your client with Nolan Wells while the boat was leaving.
Yeah, I mean, certainly not to my knowledge. I can tell you that he wasn't with him. Well,
So then it doesn't really matter what the sweetened audio says unless there was another guy with the same name as your client who was on that boat at a different time. Other than that, because the CETO call is happening while he's there. So unless it's patched together from different moments, your suggestion is it cannot be accurate.
Yeah, I will just say again that my client had nothing to do with the death of Nolan Wells, has no knowledge of the circumstances of Nolan's death, and it was no way involved in covering up or concealing any information that would be relevant to investigators figuring out what happened to Nolan.
Have the investigators come back to your client?
He's talked to the investigators. I'm not sure what you mean by come back to him.
Like, have they had follow-up questions for him on more than one occasion after they asked for his initial statement and cooperation?
Yeah, I think he talked to different sets of investigators. And I want to be very careful that I don't insert my own speculation.
Mhm.
But my appreciation is that he's talked to different sets of investigators. You know, as an example, the DMR form that shows that he was identified as one of the two boat owners, which has been misinterpreted by some people. He let DMR officers onto the boat to take the GPS and all of that. Those would be investigators that would be separate from the Jackson County Sheriff's Office.
Mm. Does your client remember the last time he saw Nolan Wells at the event? Obviously, he knew he was part of the group, even though he wasn't with him specifically because it was multiple people, multiple boats. Does he remember the last time he saw him there?
Yeah, what I would say on that is he has told me that he did see Nolan that day, but that they really didn't interact that day. One of the things to appreciate here is that my client is 21 years old. He did play football with Nolan Wells in high school, but he was 3 years older than Nolan. And so certainly...
Question. So Bart was 21 years old. I just got a question. Did Bart buy the alcohol that was sold to underaged teenagers drinking on Horn Island? This is not an accusation. This is a question. Did Bart supply the alcohol? Let's keep going.
My client would consider Nolan a friend, but it wasn't the same sort of level of relationship. They didn't go out there together that day.
Hey, thank you for watching. I post clips like...
All right, guys. All right. So we're getting ready to end, but I just want to end it with the fact that Nancy Grace already knew the deal with Nolan's phone. So there was no need to allow her platform or provide her platform for them to introduce this false narrative that is allowing the trolls and the bots to flood social media with a lie stating that she's obstructing the investigation by not providing Nolan's phone. It's false. One more clip and we're going to get out of here. We can reconvene tomorrow because we're going to scream his name like every day. Every day. Yes, we are.
Let them head to the gumbo room.
That's the part.
They look beautiful, and I'm so happy for them. So congratulations to them. All right, and then congratulations to the Don Lemon Show and team. This, I have a little, and you, our community is failing or unwrapping or unboxing. And there we go. Check this here. I said the Lemon Nation community Lemon Hits. Congratulations. So thank you for helping us to achieve milestones that haven't been achieved in independent media, especially for folks like us. So thank you very much. Now, make sure you hit the like and the thumbs up because it does affect the algorithm. The more people become aware of our conversation and our channel, that is very, very, very important. I want to give you guys an update on Nolan Wells' case. And so I've been watching these clips on social media, and some of them I came home and watched a little bit more on YouTube. And everyone's wondering about this phone thing that, you know, Nancy Grace and the lawyers for the young men and everyone like, where's, and on social media, where's the phone? Where's the phone? Where's the phone? When I said there's no mystery to what happened, we're talking about with the phone. So this was posed on Dan Abrams' show, but Nancy Grace covered it. And then so let me play this, and then I'm going to update you and tell you guys, no one needs to ask what happened. This is not a mystery. We know where the phone is, and we know what's up with the phone. I don't get all of the hoopla. Okay? Roll it.
I don't think they've cooperated at all. They do not have Nolan's phone. They haven't had access to Nolan's phone. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department hasn't. So how can you say that there's text missing or there's photographs missing? Our boys had no reason to do anything with Nolan's phone other than give it back to Christine and her friends later that night. So anything about missing text messages or Snapchats is completely false.
Okay, so that was there, right? And then answer to Benjamin Crump, the family's attorney, responded. I'll play that later. But then this was yesterday. No, this was not last night, but the night before when these men appeared on Nancy Grace.
Do you know where Nolan's phone is? Anybody? Can
Today?
anybody tell me where Nolan's phone is?
Good question. Right now, as we sit here today.
Has it ever been turned over to authorities?
No, it has not.
You're sure?
Yeah. I believe that Ben Crump, using local counsel, sent a letter out just last night, gave it to Don Lemon on his show, and Don Lemon on his show confirmed that they have not given the phone to investigators.
Well, that's on investigators because they need to get the phone and they need to look at it.
How are they going to get it if they don't give it to them?
Warrant? Subpoena Dukas
Based on
Teagan? Grand
what?
jury subpoena Dukas Teagan?
Sure, but it hasn't been to the
No
grand
one's
jury
found?
yet. Hasn't been to the grand jury
There
yet.
is. Are you telling me you don't think a grand jury is convening on this?
I think they are. I don't think they have looked at
Well,
the
you
case
said, how do you
yet.
get the phone? You obviously get the phone. Police go say, hey, can we look at the phone? And they go, sure, here it is. That's one way.
Well,
Or you're
what if they don't give it to
investigating
them?
potential crime. You get a warrant and you go, hey, give me the phone. Here's the warrant. That's two ways. Or you get a grand jury or a judge's order. There's all sorts of ways to get that phone.
Well,
Nancy,
You could
Nancy,
just ask
why,
and they
why,
hand it over.
yeah, Nancy,
Why
why,
didn't they give it to
why
him?
has the, yeah, Nancy, why, yeah, why is that phone
Okay.
hasn't been turned over?
Okay,
Why?
enough. Let me just say this. Enough. Why? They told you from the beginning. After the sheriff came out and said that they weren't looking at any foul play, we don't know if there's any foul play, but there weren't that it was accidental, and they don't trust the investigators. So why would they just hand a phone over? I don't get the entire consternation about this phone. If I did not trust the investigators or law enforcement to do the job that they're supposed to do, I'm not just handing something over to them. And the other thing is that I was going to wait till all of this is done. Is this woman on trial or something? She's not on trial for murder. So why are they attacking her? Why aren't they attacking the investigators? As Nancy said, that's on the prosecutors. Why aren't they posing that question to the prosecutors? Why aren't they asking the people Ledbetter what is going on with the phone? Maybe behind the scenes they are asking, but why are you out here putting this mother, who one of the most horrific things to happen to a mother is to lose her son? Why are you putting her on blast? For whatever reason she hasn't given over the phone. Why are you doing that? It's not a good look. Who raised y'all? And the kids as well. Who raised that kid that said if it wasn't for the mom, like, are you kidding me? You were 18, 19 years old. Put some respect on her name.
Amen.
The woman just lost her son. And you don't know what her reasoning is. And quite frankly, I'm shocked that they're out there saying this. Why are they out doing all of these interviews? As if no one is charged. They have not been charged with anything. It's just the internet rumbling. The internet rumbles all the time. As my sister used to say, God rest her soul, her birthday was this week, my happy heavenly birthday. But my sister used to say all the time, like, why is that dog barking so much? People would say. And then she would say, because that's what dogs do. Why does this happen? Because that's what they do. So why? I don't understand why they are attacking this woman. She is not on trial for anything. And that's what dogs do thing is because of the internet. Well, we're getting people are saying things about us on social media, and people are saying, of course, that's what they do on social media. That's why the first interview I had on this show, my very first show, was about what? Content moderation, but nobody wants to do it. It's censoring, it's free speech. No one wants to do it. That's what the internet do. And so, what does you give a shit about what the internet is saying? If you know that you're innocent, okay, fine. Have your lawyers put out statement, these boys are innocent, blah, 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 blah. Boom, done. But out doing interviews, attacking the mom as if she's on trial, what the fuck?
Exactly.
This is not a murder investigation. And she is not a suspect. And this is not unusual. If you have had anything to do with the law or you know about anything like this, this is fairly normal to negotiate for something to be handed over, especially a phone or a device. As one of the lawyers for the family stated yesterday when we were at NABJ. Roll that, Andy.
What the agreement was that the DA's office, and this is the Jackson County DA's office, as well as our forensic team, and possibly the FBI, were going to together download and examine the phone. So it's done one time with everybody together, right? This is very common in the law. I mean, what you all may be more used to is when there's a terrible car accident and then there's an examination of that car and everybody comes together one time. They don't move that car around and everybody does their own thing. This is what is supposed to happen. We are waiting for the DA to determine the time, the place, the date. Let us know, and we are going to be there with our forensics team and anybody else, but it's done one time, one examination. We're ready for it to happen.
Okay, so, and that is not out of the ordinary. So I showed you the letter just real quickly, and you put the letter up. When they made that claim on Dan Abrams, Ben Crump sent us a letter. I texted his person, and I said, what is going on with the phone? And because people are alleging blah, 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 blah. And he sent me this and said, this is what's happening with the phone. And if you look at the second paragraph, he says the legal team has stated previously, including during our in-person meeting with the Wells family and counsel, we have been and remain ready and willing to cooperate in arranging a joint forensic inspection of Nolan Wells' personal cell phone. During that meeting, we specifically discussed the examination. This is small. Let me make it bigger. Sorry. We specifically discussed having the examination conducted through the digital forensics lab at Mississippi Gulf Coast College, Community College, as well as the possibility of FBI involvement in that process. So they're explaining to you what happened. It is being negotiated with them because they want to, as that attorney said, everybody all at once going and doing it. It's not unusual. It's called a filter team. It's called a filter team. And people use it all the time. A filter team or taint team, as I explained to you earlier in the week, is a separate group of legal or investigative personnel not involved in an active case. They review seized documents or data to block private or privileged information such as attorney-client communications from reaching the main prosecution or investigator team. There may be things, and maybe probably are, and not that it is nefarious or bad, that they don't want the public or the investigator seeing because it has nothing to do with this case.
Correct.
There are things that maybe there's, I don't know if this would be attorney-client privilege. Maybe, I don't know what's on there. But most people, if you have representatives, and those lawyers know that, they know it. If you have representation, they will tell you, no. If they don't have your phone, if they didn't already take your phone, don't give it over yet. We're going to negotiate this so we can control the process and what they see and make sure that they are only looking at information that's within a certain time frame and in a certain parameter. It's not unusual. So stop this bullshit about where is the phone? Because I wouldn't turn my fucking phone over to people I did not trust.
I agree.
And I'm not on trial for anything. So and people, I hear people all the time, why are they turning over the phone? I want to get my phone. Sure. Should they turn the phone over? Absolutely. Absolutely.
But as a joint.
And they're telling you that they want to turn the phone over. We just want to make sure that our shit is done right. Would you just turn your phone over? I wouldn't. Everyone says, oh, well, if I was in that situation, I would just do it. No, you wouldn't. You don't know that. You do not know that. Do not give me that BS. That's BS. That is BS. I've gone on. I don't even know what more I have. Oh, and then last night, also on this show, you know who? Again, talking about the phone. I'll let you hear, and then I got a few words. Here it is.
I don't believe they cooperated whatsoever as well. So
Extrapolating, you're taking the words, Tatum, that their words that they're prepared to cooperate to mean they haven't handed over the phone. Isn't that true?
I'm putting everything together, right? We have Tyler Cox that's coming out and saying that he has no indication whatsoever they've cooperated. The family has not come out and said that there's any findings. And then also the attorney that represents the family is saying that we haven't sent or gave the phone over, but we're willing to. And that was as of the 11th. So it appears that there's no indication that.
Brandon, you may very well be a lot smarter than me, but I can hear. Okay. The statement was, we're prepared to cooperate, I guess, from Crump. That does
I'm not
not
sure
mean
if it was.
we have not handed over the phone, but we will.
Well, Nancy, when you put it all, you have to put the totality of circumstance together. I'm not there to be in the room with the investigators to determine, but I'm just going off of what knowledge we have and that's been given to us that's available. And what Tyler Cox is saying, and I'm taking him at his word, he's saying that there's no indication that they.
What kind of comeback was that, y'all? Brandon Tatum, you may very well be a lot smarter than me. Yeah, Nancy flipped. I said what I said. She's flipped.
They've cooperated. The lawyers that represent the family is saying we're prepared, but they did not say that they cooperated whatsoever. So I'm looking at the statements that are produced, and all of the statements indicate that there has not been a cooperation with the phone being extracted from investigators. Therefore, there is no true determination that things were missing from the phone. Well, I mean, we have no other. We have no other. We have nothing else to go off of.
Prepared to cooperate. For all I know, that means we'll come in for questioning. We'll let you search his belongings. It
Nancy,
can mean anything. That does not equal we have not handed over the phone. But hey, you know what?
Nancy, it's been weeks.
You say tomato, I say tomato, because it kind of doesn't matter.
So again, do you see with the chyron at the bottom, the writing on the thing? Alert, Nolan Wells' mother is not on trial. And he's saying the information that we have gathered, is he an investigator? Is he on the investigative team?
Well,
like, what is this? Why are they treating this mother?
You see, have you noticed in the interviews with the attorney, you see Brandon Tatum's liquor bourbon is sitting on their desk? That's his liquor line. So yeah, they're all in cahoots with this. All of them, every single one of them.
As if she's a suspect. And why are these young men and their representatives acting as if these young men are on trial? They're not. All because of some internet chatter? Now, I'm not talking about the threats, the death threats and all of that. That should not happen. But because someone is talking shit about you on the internet, then we would all be sending cease and desists and defamation and slander to the courts would be clogged. That's what the internet does. Or in the vernacular, that's what the internet do. So check yourself. Because if someone asked me yesterday, but if you were involved, would you? I said, if I were involved and people were talking shit about me on the internet, or maybe I'd ask someone to put out a statement. Maybe I would just put out a statement on social media for my friend saying, I know people are saying all this stuff online, but guess what? That's not where my concern is right now. My concern is with my friend, my friend who's gone and with his family. And I hope that they get to the bottom of this. And so I'm out until they figure it out at the end of the investigation. Thank you very much. And rest in peace, Nolan. And my thoughts and prayers for you, Miss Christine. Boom, I'm done. If it was my best friend or my good friend, you think I'd be out there blasting Miss Willie Mae? No. Especially if I know Miss Willie Mae, Miss Helen, Miss Johnson, I would not be doing that to them. Why would I do that? That's my friend. That's my friend's mama. I love them.
Correct.
I understand the internet is a terrible place. Everybody's going to have their opinion, but I'm not going to be out there talking shit about a grieving mother who just lost their child. Check yourself. The investigation will happen. They will get to the bottom of it. And at the end of the day, if you have nothing to do with it, you will be exonerated. And then you can put out a post, you can go on a media thing, and you could say whatever you want after that. But until then, do not put this mother in a position to have to be defending herself and getting more threats. It's just, who raised y'all? Okay, look, we're gonna take phone calls after and a little bit later on the show. Okay, we're gonna take phone calls a little bit later on the show, but we have a very.
So I really do appreciate everybody that stopped in tonight. Shout out to the Truth Gang. I'm doing my best to block all of these trolls. The chat's getting better. It's getting better. So on that note, I was hoping to have a open panel tonight, but it is kind of late. So we're going to end this live tonight with a song that I wrote for Nolan Wells. So shout out to Nolan. And we're going to always, always, always call his name. We're not going to stop. And we want Mississippi to cough them boys up. Cough it up. Cough it up. Everybody
Mississippi. Three boats went to Horn Island. Everybody came back except Nolan Xavier Wells. They brought his phone home, but they left somebody's son behind. This time, we want every answer. Mississippi, cough 'em up, cough 'em up, cough 'em up. Yeah. 4th of July, headed out in the sun. 3 boats on the water, but they came back -1. Nolan was 18 with his whole life plan. College football dreams and the future in his hands. They went to Horn Island, everybody there together. Sun on the coast, clear summertime weather. But something went wrong before the end of the day. When the boats left the island, Nolan somehow stayed. They said he made a choice, said he wanted to remain, but he cannot tell his side, so the question still remains. Why would he stay without his keys or his phone? Why would everybody leave and assume he made it home?
Who was the last one to see him on the sand? Who counted every person for the boats left land? Everybody got a story, but the timeline got a hold. Mississippi, tell Christine what happened to her soul.
Her baby didn't come home. Her baby couldn't call. Everybody had an answer, but nobody knew it all. If you were there with Nolan, come forward with the truth. A mother needs an answer. What happened to her youth?
Cough 'em up, cough 'em up, cough 'em up.
Mississippi, cough 'em up this time. Bring them boys forward, put the truth on the line. We are not declaring guilt, we are demanding facts. Tell us what happened to Nolan and don't hold nothing back. Cough 'em up, Mississippi. Every phone and every boat, every picture, every message, every word that they spoke. His mother needs the truth, his father needs it too. Cough 'em up, Mississippi. Tell us what happened to Nolan Wells. Cough up the truth. Bring every hidden detail to the light. Cough up the truth. Mississippi, get it right this time. 4:31, they reportedly pulled away. But when was Nolan last independently seen that day? There's a window in the timeline, questions in between. What happened after 4 and what did witnesses see? One boat taking water, building Bills pump acting strange. A call went out for help, then the energy seemed to change. Voices in the background, confusion on the line. Who was on which vessel at that exact time? They reached the mainland, moved from place to place, but nobody turned around to search the island for his face. His mother knew a baby would not vanish on his own. After midnight, she reported that her son had not come home. Search teams hit the water when the morning brought the light. Then July 6th, the living news that shattered every life. Nolan's body found, but the questions only grew. Finding him was not the same as finding out the truth. Her baby didn't come home. Her baby couldn't call. Everybody had an answer, but nobody knew it all. If you were there with Nolan, come forward with the truth. A mother needs an answer. What happened to a youth?
Cough 'em up, cough 'em up, cough 'em up,
Mississippi, cough 'em up this time. Bring them boys forward, put the truth on the line. We are not declaring guilt, we are demanding facts. Tell us what happened in
Justice
Nolan
for
and
Nolan
don't
Wells,
hold
please,
nothing
in the
back.
comments.
Cough 'em up, Mississippi, every phone and every boat, every picture, every message, every word that they spoke. His mother needs a truth, his father needs it too. Cough 'em up, Mississippi, tell us what happened to Nolan Wells. Cough up the truth, bring every hidden detail to the light. Cough up the truth, Mississippi, get it right this time. They did the autopsy, held the findings for review. The family sought another because they need answers too. Independent examination left the cause of man opinion. The family's lawyer said the investigation was my ending. Questions about his neck, questions behind his head, questions about the tissue and what the findings really state. Where is the final report? What will the evidence show? How did Nolan lose his life? His family deserves to know. FBI assistant county still leading the case. Grand jury expected to review the evidence in place. Ben Crump still beside him said examine every fact. If the light